If it's Thursday, that means it's the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Welcome, everybody. It's Ellis Thomas here alongside with Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth tonight. We're bringing you live racing action in the Gen 4 Arca cars of the TNT Series tonight from Las Vegas. In the heart of the Mojave Desert, where the dry winds carry stories of speed and adrenaline, stands a legendary monument to motorsports, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Nestled like a gem in the desert, this iconic racing venue embodies the bold spirit of the American West. Spanning 1.5 miles, the D-shaped oval boasts 20-degree progressive banking, hosting NASCAR's premier stock car races, alongside with a history of IndyCar, open wheel, and sports car competitions. Its nickname, the Diamond in the Desert, is well-earned for both its cutting-edge design and the thrilling action it always delivers. Opened in 1996, Las Vegas quickly made a name for itself, debuting with an IndyCar race. Just 2 months later, NASCAR roared to life on the oval for the first time, with the track hitting a milestone in '98, hosting its first NASCAR Cup Series event. The track underwent a major transformation in 2006, elevating its status as a premier stock car battleground. What once was a modest 12-degree banked oval evolved into a steeper 20-degree configuration, making for more aggressive and strategic racing. That progressive banking in the corners added a new layer of challenge, with drivers navigating the steepest sections as they climbed the racing surface. This revamp turned each lap into a calculated dance of skill and risk, with every race hinging on precision and perhaps a little luck, as Lady Luck herself is never far from the action in Las Vegas. Chris, in case you didn't know, the Las Vegas Police Department uses this track to train officers for high-speed chases. Tonight, we're certainly in for some hot pursuits and games of cat and mouse. What are drivers going to have to do if they are to evade their closest competition and walk away with a win in race number 2 of the TNT season?
Well, one thing they're going to have to do, and we're going to get more to that in our stories here in just a little bit, but they're going to have to manage their tires. This is a very, very fast 1.5 mile D-shaped oval, and so the line that you run is going to play a big role in how much you wear those tires. And so we're going to be keeping an eye on drivers and watching their lines all race tonight. We expect about 55 laps on a tank of fuel, and with 175 lap race distance, that gives us about 3 stops expected. These drivers have 6 sets of tires laying in the pits, so they should have plenty of sets. When you decide to take them, though, is going to be a really, really big story tonight. 18 cars navigating this 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. Should be a very exciting night.
And it's going to be exciting indeed. It's a hazy day here in the desert at Las Vegas. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about plenty of stories to set the race up for you fans watching at home. But first, it's time for a fan favorite Slingshot Racing Media pre-race tradition. Everyone, if able, rise and remove your caps for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. All right, back here in the desert at Las Vegas, gearing up for 175 laps for the TNT Series here in race number 2. We've got some stories to set up the race, but first, the biggest story of all, Chris, really the point standings heading out of Daytona in a race that was marred by some carnage. It was a really kind of weird race. It had a very old school vibe to it. We're going to see much different racing tonight, but last week, Aaron Smith came out on top. Maybe one of the few cars that did not have damage in that 100-lap race, Chris. Looking at the point standings there, why is this important? That's because this is a 15-race season. At the end of the 12th race, with 3 races remaining, the top 10, if it remains these drivers, they will be the ones who advance to a 3-round playoff for the championship with a reset of points separated by just 50 points at that point in the season, Chris. Aaron Smith established himself out of the gate as one of the favorites, but Levi Cox, Justin Clapper, Chase Leahy, and Glenn Grimm, they're all in it, as well as the other drivers. Just 20 points right now separating the top 10 headed into Las Vegas. Any favorites that stick out to you on that list right now?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. I think that tonight is going to be a big test. Daytona is sort of like a beast, of itself. So it's really, really hard to look at Daytona and try to judge how things are going to go this season. I will tell you this. I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of these drivers. I haven't seen many of them on the track. I have seen Aaron Smith. And I think that most of the drivers are thinking that, we really needed to get points on Aaron Smith last week at Daytona. And unfortunately for them, and fortunately for Aaron, he walked out of Daytona with the most amount of points that he could get, max points. So, that's probably not what the rest of the field wanted to see leaving Daytona.
Yeah, and they almost got him. It was a race to the line, separated by just inches between 3 cars. One of the most thrilling finishes we've seen in several seasons here for TNT. So we'll be looking forward to see if we can continue that momentum of excitement here into Las Vegas. So you can see the point standings there, where your favorite drivers stand in the top 10. But let's talk about some other stories headed out of Daytona into Las Vegas. We mentioned it's going to be a very different experience for drivers out on track tonight at Daytona. Really maybe just a little bit of lifting going into the corner, but tonight it's going to be different. We've already talked to some of the drivers on the grid for tonight before the race started, and one of the things we kept on hearing was save your tires. This track is going to eat up tires like a cheese grater, for lack of a better metaphor there, Chris. What are drivers going to be experiencing, and what can they do to make their tires last longer than the rest of the drivers out there?
Well, they'll just experience a loss of grip over the course of a long run, and with such a long race like what we have tonight, this could turn into a race of attrition. I don't think it will. I think that these drivers all are, they've got experience with these length races, so I think that they probably feel really good about, racing with each other and making it to the end. But you're going to have to be really, really careful of your angle of entry to the corner, how much throttle you use to get back to the throttle, and not get lured into racing other people and other cars. You need to really, really race the racetrack tonight. Try to keep that right front tire underneath you, because I think that's going to be the tire that really, really wears. So, we'll have to keep an eye on that all night for sure.
Yeah, and everything else on the stories to follow board here at the Sim Racing Media pre-race studio, you kind of already mentioned, it's going to be a change of pace. We're at a much different track. Yes, it will be high speeds head into those corners, but drivers, they're going to have to lift. It's not going to be so much a drafting track tonight. You're really going to have to set up your passes well in advance, and that's really what separates the most skilled drivers from, the lesser skilled drivers. So I'm already hearing in the chat from some of the drivers who have joined in. Josh says right front's going to wear off pretty quick if you don't save. We'll be keeping an eye on him because he knows it. Maybe he's one of the guys to watch out for. But Chris, Aaron Smith, we know he's going to be a contender, but I think we're probably going to see several of what will eventually ultimately become the championship 10, probably up in the top 10 tonight. The cream usually rises to the top of the cream of the crop, I should say, usually rises to the top on tracks like this. And we're inevitably going to hopefully see that tonight and to see those contenders emerge. And you mentioned it. Patience, patience, patience. We raced last night at Homestead, a very much different track, Chris, but you were reminding me, patience. You can't win the race on lap 1, and you can't win the race by passing 12 cars at once on lap 5, but you sure can lose it. What do you tell your driver if you're the crew chief here as we get ready to buckle up in just about a minute and a half for 175 laps around a high-speed track?
The first thing I'm telling them is 175 laps. That's the big key that I'm going to tell them right here, is that they need to be very aware that this is a long race and there's a long ways to go. And you can, like you said, you can throw it all the way here early in the race, and you just don't want to do that. There's a lot of lanes on this track. That's going to be one of the things that we watch here tonight. With this progressive banking, you can kind of run all over this track, and I'm going to be really curious to see, how the drivers, manage those lanes. And with those lanes comes the invitation of, sort of, I call it hot dogging it maybe around a few guys early in the race, some guys that are taking it easy. And, I would just preach patience. Like you said, I would just try to make sure that my driver is very, very aware, very cognizant of the fact that this is a long race. And that there's going to be a lot of events that occur over the course of this race, a lot of pit stops. So there's a lot of ways to find yourself in trouble. And you want to try to make sure that you're there at the end to battle it out.
Yeah, mistakes on pit road can add up very quickly. That's going to be another wild card. How many Las Vegas puns can we get in here tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know in the chat who you're rooting for. And hey, speaking of the fans watching at home, we've got a great little giveaway we're doing here over the course of the season. It's going to last all 15 weeks. It starts tonight. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is simply click the link in the chat and register. It's literally 60 seconds or less for you to get signed up to win a 1/24th scale autographed Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oreo paint scheme from 2002. Chris, I think it might be one of my top 5 paint schemes probably of all time. And you have that chance, if you're watching at home, to go ahead and enter to win that die cast. Just look in the chat. It's a pinned comment with a link. And we're going to talk about that every week, but it's a great looking car. Don't forget to register. And hey, if you're in the chat, let us know you're here. Let us know who you're rooting for. We're going to give away, just for fun, a 1/64th scale NASCAR diecast to one lucky chatter over the course of the evening. We'll have trivia questions in the chat. We'll keep it lively and entertaining. But hey, speaking of entertainment, you're here for the main form of entertainment. That's the race. Qualifying just rounded up, and we're going to go ahead and look at who's starting where your favorite driver is going to be starting from tonight as we look at the pre-race grid for race number 2 of the TNT Series from Las Vegas. Starting on the pole, it's going to be driver number 70, last week's winner at Daytona, Aaron Smith. Outside of row number 1, it's the 27, Gregory Shepsis, who had great speed last week at Daytona, but caught up in a couple of incidents. He's going to be starting second. On inside of row number 2, it's going to be Thomas Aaron starting third in the 93 with Chris Blassie, a great run at Daytona going until he was involved in a crash here on starting in position 4. Chase Leahy, also speed last week at Daytona, starting 5th in that number 34. Robert Walton starting 6th in the 66 car. Brandon Roberts going to be starting 7th in the 00 into the outside of row 4. Coming from 8th position is going to be Justin Clapper in that number 63. Greg Veal starting 9th in the 26. Anthony Burleson going to be rounding out the top 10 in that number 79. Newcomer Dan Burr going to be starting 11th in the 11. Jacob Chase, his teammate, starting on the outside of row 6, coming from 12th tonight, that number 5. Joshua Kerner starting 13th in the 14 car. Tyler Truex in the number 69 will be starting on the outside of row 7, coming from 14th. Glenn Grimm in the Halloween spooky theme paint scheme tonight, starting 15th. David Reichman starting 16th in the 6th. Levi Cox will start 17th in that number 1 car. Great speed last week at Daytona. And then Michael Benton rounding out 18th, starting in the number 29 car tonight. Chris, about half a lap away from the start of this race. Aaron Smith's your pole sitter. Going to be keeping an eye on that pulse of Aaron Smith over the course of the evening. We got him hooked up to a heart rate monitor. We'll be able to check in with him and see just how he is feeling over the course of the evening. I'd imagine the nerves might be a little high right now. Pace car is going to be getting ready to roll down pit road for the first time tonight. Drivers are going to be looking for that flag stand, looking for the green flag to wave to get us started in race number 2. Pace car's off. And there it is. We are underway here at Las Vegas. Aaron Smith jumps on the field. He's got the number 1 right behind him. I believe that's Thomas Aaron in that number one with Gregory Shepsis to the outside. Smith gets away cleanly down into one. The other yellow car, the number one, Thomas Aaron, second. Shepsis slides into third with his teammate Chase Leahy in fourth, right behind him. Down the backstretch for the first time tonight.
And Aaron Smith, I guess you could say he's all in on this first lap, jumping out to a nice little lead right here. And he's got another Aaron behind him, Thomas Aaron, in that Steve Park special, looking to chase down Aaron Smith.
Yeah, I was just looking at my telemetry data, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to get confusing on the board tonight. 2 yellow cars, 2 Aarons, Chris. We're in trouble, and Aaron Smith is in trouble as the number one, Thomas Aaron, jumps to the outside very early. Aaron looking to get by Aaron Smith for the lead. It's the battle of the yellow banana cars, and it's Aaron. Thomas, I've already done it, Chris. Thomas Aaron to the lead, gives a wide berth to the 70 of Aaron Smith, but that's going to open Smith. He's going to open the door to Gregory Shepsis with Chris Blassie and Chase Leahy right behind them. He's got about a 5-6 car length lead, headed down into one, back to Aaron Smith. Two wide between Shepsis and Blassie. Meanwhile, this is a battle for third that's going to continue down the backstretch with Shepsis looking like he wants to go for second.
Yeah, Shepsis right here to the outside. That car showed a lot of speed in practice. I'm not surprised at all to see him moving up through the field. He is up there on that high groove where there's a little bit more banking, as it looks like Chris Blassie's going to try to make a move to the inside of Aaron Smith.
Yeah, it looked like Shepsis struggled a little bit there on the outside, Chris. That's going to be another story to follow, is where are these cars going to be most comfortable going? Right now, it's looking like that outside had an early advantage, but slowly but surely the inside is kind of working its way back. It's Blassie to second. Shepsis now does battle with Aaron Smith, and don't forget Justin Clapper. Had a strong run last week in that 63. He looks to go for third position now. On the outside, it's Shepsis and Blassie. It's Clapper and Shepsis. Shepsis in that number 43, or 63 rather. Sorry, that's Clapper. And then 27 of Gregory Shepsis on the inside. They're still side by side with Chase Leahy right behind them. Looks like Clapper's going to clear Shepsis. Rockets down that backstretch, and now Shepsis going to have to hold off his teammate.
Yeah, he is. And meanwhile, our pole sitter, Aaron Smith, has fallen back to the 9th position, the 10th position. He is just dropping like a rock right here. I think this might be by design, but we'll keep an eye on him all night. It looks like Jacob Chase to the inside. He's going to get around Smith. Anthony Burleson up into the top 10, and Tyler Truex as well up in the top 10 after starting deep in the field.
Yeah, that 70 is off the pace very early. Your pole sitter, Aaron Smith, not sure if he's run into trouble or he's just trying to take it easy on those tires. Chris, one of the stories that we were talking about in pre-race, we'll go into a little bit more detail here. This track eats up tires very quickly, chews the rubber right off of them, so much so that there's no grip left by the time the fuel window is open or the tank of fuel is empty. A lot of drivers were talking like they might not be able to make it a full fuel run on one set of tires because the tire wear is so heavy tonight. So Aaron Smith maybe trying to be proactive. It looks like the 69 of Tyler Truex got a little bit loose headed out of turn 2 right in front of Anthony Burleson and Jacob Chase, but he's able to gather it up in that white and black number 69.
Yeah, he does. We didn't see Tyler Truex in the opening race at Daytona, but here he is showing up to the second round here in Las Vegas, and he's getting after the 66 right there of Robert Walton. That 66 car was one of the fastest cars out on the track last week at Daytona, so we'll be keeping an eye on him tonight. I think that he got caught up in an accident, so looking to maybe get a little bit of redemption this week.
Yeah, Robert Walton started 6th, has lost a couple of positions. That driver out of New Jersey on the opposite side of the country. It might just be taking a couple of minutes to get acclimated to the weather out here in Las Vegas, Chris. As soon as we say that, though, it looks like Gregory Shepsis on the outside, 3 wide. Shepsis and the 26 of Greg Veal end up in the wall together. We're still under green flag conditions. And, Chris, that all started back half a lap ago when I believe Shepsis ran into trouble in that 27, got high and wide, and it took it 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Yeah, we're going to watch this sort of like from a drone perspective here overhead. The 26 right here of, I believe that is Greg Veal. They're 3 wide right here. Tyler Truex on the bottom. There's Shepsis up high. Yeah, it just looked like to me that they just did not leave enough room for Gregory Shepsis up there on the high side. Tough break for the driver of the 27.
Yeah, and I don't know how much damage there is on that number 27. Looks like he's good enough to keep on going, but what's going on underneath that sheet metal, a little bit less clear. We'll probably see him slow down just a little bit, but the telltale will be if he hits pit road, how damaged that car is, how long he can continue in that number 27. But that's a shame. Had great speed going, and I believe he started in the second position, Chris. So
yeah, he's on pit
tough
road
night.
now.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a little bit of damage he's got to get repaired. So we'll be on the lookout for him if he's able to rebound. Really one of those guys in the top 10 in points headed out of Daytona. Definitely going to take a hit tonight. Looking around the rest of the track, Chris, there's some good battles going on right now. Oh, the 29 of Michael Benton, a little bit squirrely, headed down into 3, Chris, back there in the 16th position. He was doing battle with Dan Berg for just a moment. This is a great little battle back in 13th. Reichman, Grimm, and Berg shaping up to be a good one as they make their way into the first corner. It's that number 6 of David Reichman, that red and black and silver car on the outside of the Halloween-themed car of Glenn Grimm, really kind of leaning into that last name, it feels like, Chris.
Yeah, and he had an awesome Halloween paint scheme last week as well at Daytona. So glad to see another one out here on the track tonight, and it's a good-looking ride. And yeah, I always like seeing things in the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, it looks like it's the what is that? The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is kind of Halloween, kind of Christmas, I guess. Let us know in the chat what your favorite spooky horror Halloween movie is. If you haven't really watched races here with us before in Slingshot Racing Media, we like to get that chat going. We like to know who you're rooting for, what you're into, because we're going to give away a 1/64th scale NASCAR diecast to one lucky chatter tonight. Let's get those keyboards going, folks. Root on the drivers. Let us know what you're thinking. Right now, the number 6 of David Reichman, though, Dan Berg side by side. This is a great little battle, Chris. We've seen Berg race before in Slingshot Racing League, and he's got some speed tonight. Climbed a couple of positions after losing a few earlier in the race. Right now, he's sitting in 14th. I know he likely has some fans watching at home. Shout out to the Bergs if they are watching. And right now, trying to do his best to track down Brandon Roberts in that 00 right now, headed down into turn number 3 and 4. Checking back at the lead.
And while you do that, Ellis, just give a quick shout out to both Dan Berg and to Jacob Chase. Both of these guys were watching the action last week here on Slingshot Racing Media, and they thought, hey, I want to be a part of that action. I want to join up. And so they have this week, and here they are, and that could be you as well. You know, if you are interested in a league on Thursday nights, if you are an iRacer and you want to jump in here and race with these guys, this is a great league, and I know they'd be very welcoming to, you know, more drivers joining as well.
Yeah, we would absolutely look forward to that tonight. We want to pack this grid. 18 drivers tonight. Grew a little bit from last week, Chris, but right now, Thomas Aaron, who I don't believe was in Daytona last week, he's really kind of surprising us right now. Started 3rd position, but we didn't really know what to expect from the driver of that number 1 car. But right now, he's got about a 6-7 car length lead over Justin Clapper, who started 6th. Right now, the fastest car on the track is definitely not actually in the top 3. Robert Walton, Chris, and Tyler Truex back there. I've been keeping an eye on that number 6, the number 69, Chris. Tyler Truex has started 14th tonight. He's up 8 positions.
He got in trouble right there. I think he might have tagged the wall right there on entry to 1. Lost a little bit of ground to Robert Walton, but I don't think the damage is. He scuffed up the right side, but I don't think it's too bad.
Hey, did we have take 2 of the commentator's curse as soon as we put him on camera? Yeah. Got a little bit of that wall, but Tyler Truex right now having a great run, running some of the fastest laps on the track. Tells you don't need a fancy paint scheme to go fast here at Las Vegas. Tyler Truex making it look easy right now, passing 8 cars in the first 18 laps nonetheless. Going to be keeping an eye on him, but right now we've got a lot of space between drivers. Everyone just taking it easy. It's a 175 lap race, and that is no short feat here for these drivers. Everyone's kind of stretched it out a little bit, and there is the first yellow. Going to see who that came out for. That might have been Gregory Shepsis here.
I think it's the 29 of Michael Benton.
Actually, yeah, you are right. That was the 29. Maybe. I'm trying to get my
when he's
grid
towed
working.
Back to the pits here. We'll go back and see if we can figure out what happened to Michael. Here he is in a battle right here with Greg Veal. Veal to the inside, and that's the number 6 of David Reichman behind him. Everything's clean and green right here. Oh, yeah, and he's in the wall, and yeah, some contact right there from the 27. Oh, Reichman also involved in that, looked like.
Reichman, just kind of an innocent bystander in that number 6. Had been working his way through the field steadily, but just, again, talk about just being caught by surprise there. That number 6, David Reichman, going to have some heavy damage. He's got to get fixed, maybe even get it back in order before too long, but that's going to put us under caution for the first time, Chris. We are 19 laps in.
Yeah.
You think we're going to see pit stops?
We very well could. It looks like they're all on pit road right there, and yeah, we'll go back to the live action right here. These round of caution flag pit stops.
Yeah, your top 10 make their way down pit road for the first time tonight to the attention of their crews. I would imagine they're going to be taking 4 fresh tires. Aaron Smith, the pole sitter, drops into spot number 1, but he had worked his way, or fallen his way back, I should say, to the 12th or 13th position before this caution. It does look like Brandon Roberts is going to make his way off of pit road. I believe that was Brandon Roberts. Trying to look at my telemetry and timing.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Robert Walton, actually.
Yeah, Robert Walton, and he was only in the box for 7 seconds, so that was like a 2-tire change right there. Let's watch this 66 car on this restart, and let's see if that thing is a little bit free once we go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, we will be keeping an eye on that to see what the tire situation is. Hey, couple comments in the chat. K9 Burnouts wants to know, can I join this league? Absolutely, K9 Burnouts. You can find them on iRacing. Just look up Thursday Night Thunder and apply for the league. Also, feel free to shoot an email to SS Racing Leagues. That's plural, ssracingleagues@gmail.com, and we'll make sure we get you in touch with the right people. But thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping by. And, yeah, we're going to take a quick break and hear from the presenting partner of this series, Sim Wrap Market. We will be back here before the end of this caution for live green flag racing. Back here live in Las Vegas, Thursday Night Thunder here on Slingshot Racing Media. Just about a lap away from the restart here after a lap 18 crash involving 2 or 3 cars. Those guys looked like they've worked on getting that damage repaired. I think Michael Benton might be parking it for a little bit. But Shepsis back on the track, got an EOL for kind of being the instigator, obviously unintentional, of that lap 18 crash. But he's going to have to work his way back through the field if he's going to wind up with a result that he is probably hoping for tonight. Let's set up the restart, though, here, Chris. Brandon Roberts, Thomas Aaron, Justin Clapper are your top 4, followed by Chris Blassie. Brandon Roberts, though, Chris, he is on old tires, 22-lap older tires compared to Thomas Aaron, Justin Clapper, Chris Blassie. We talked about a couple of guys. I believe we had mentioned Robert Walton, Chris, not taking tires, but he has since dropped to the back. Yeah. He came down pit road for a second time, so I'm not sure if that was a mistake on his part or not.
Yeah, I think he took left side tires that time. I think he realized that, yeah, it might have been a mistake, or, you know, everybody behind me took 4, so I might as well come in and get my left side tires here, because it probably would have been pretty free here on this restart.
Just a little bit free, and I think we're going to be on the lookout for the 00 to see how just free that black and purple car that is going to be starting on the inside of row 1 is, Chris. got to be really probably careful if you're behind that 00, because he very well could spin the tires that are much more worn right now than the rest of the field. These drivers are going to have a task at hand if they're going to get by that 00, though. It's going to be Thomas Aaron, who's led the majority of this race on the outside. The 00 of Brandon Roberts takes the green flag here on lap number 23. It's going to be a battle between Clapper and Aaron on the outside. Clapper right now with the advantage to the inside in that 63. Roberts gets away cleanly. They send it down into turn number 1. 1, 2, and 3 single file, but as soon as I say that, it's going to be Clapper jumping to the outside to try to march towards the lead for the first time tonight. Can he do it? Too wide down into number 3. It's Clapper on the outside. Roberts on the inside, and then quickly Thomas Aaron back to the outside to try to get by Roberts. 1, 2, 3 now. Blassie shoots into third on the outside, down the front straightaway. That's Chase Leahy right behind Brandon Roberts now. The top 4 single file, but it's Leahy and Levi Cox in the 1 with Tyler Truex joining in right behind them. Crazy restarts here at Las Vegas. 3 wide down the backstretch. That's Leahy, Cox, and Truex now settling it down into 2 by 2 as they head down into turn number 3 once again.
Man, some crazy racing here on this restart. Tyler Truex all the way to the inside right there, 3 wide. He's going for more on Levi Cox here.
Yeah, Truex, after starting 17th tonight, I should say 14th, he's up into the 4th position if he can make it stick on the inside. That black and white number 69 launches into the 4th position. In front of him, there's a battle for second. Blassie and Aaron side by side for second. It's Blassie in that white and black number 15 to the outside. It's Aaron on the inside in the Banana Mobile, number 1. It's all going on behind Justin Clapper, though, Chris. Top 3 single file. Now Tyler Truex in 4th single file. It's about 6 car lengths back to Levi Cox. Leahy and Roberts all fighting for that 5th position, but right behind them, Aaron Smith, your pole sitter, another yellow car, working his way by Anthony Burleson, Chris. That's a march from 17th position. Smith now up into the 8th position, going for more. 7th, he goes under Brandon Roberts. Rockets to the inside. They climb the banking. Down on the front straightaway, Chris. Aaron Smith is making it look easy right now, cutting through the field like butter.
He is. He's rolling up through the field right here. We saw him be a little bit more tentative on his tires on that previous restart, but I think he's decided he thinks maybe he got a little bit too far back there before, and not that he's abusing his tires here, but he's pushing a little bit harder.
Battle for the lead. Speaking of pushing hard, Chris Blassie pushing Justin Clapper, your leader, very hard right now. Blassie's been wrapping that outside line now for the past couple of laps to an advantage on Clapper. You can see how much momentum that 15 car carries off the corner. He's going to try to channel it into a pass before too long, right to the back bumper of Clapper. Chris Blassie really getting aggressive with these moves here, Chris. Clapper wiggles just a little bit. Will that open the door for Chris Blassie? Down the backstretch, Blassie draws a bead. Is he going to try to dart it down to the inside? No, but he's going to stick close to that wall, the strategy that's been using for the past couple of laps. Blassie's showing some speed here, Chris. Not just fast on super speedways like Daytona, but he's brought the heat tonight.
Yeah, he's got that outside line rolling right here, and saw that car had the right rear. You see it right there, man. The right rear is really yawed out on these things, especially up high. It looks like, and yeah, just curious to see if he's able to maintain that pace running up there and running that hard up there on that high side. If he can, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with tonight.
Yeah, speaking of forces to be reckoned with, jump back to 10th position, Chris, right now. Jacob Chase on the outside of 5 cars you could throw a blanket over right now. It's Veal, Chase, Berg, Grimm, and Roberts. 6 cars now all on top of each other, squaring off for the 10th position. And boy, now they've made it look like it's a pace lap with 2 by 2 by 2. But for a minute there, it was 3 wide and almost 4 wide, Chris. It's Jacob Chase, who right now sitting in the 11th position after starting 12th, looking to pick up his 2nd spot of the evening with Grimm right behind him. How careful are you this early in the race if you're the crew chief for one of these drivers? What are you telling someone like Glenn Grimm right now, who's right in the middle of these 2 wide battles, both nose to tail?
I'm telling him, like, hey, there's a long ways to go here. With some contact like right in front of him. Yeah, that's what I'm telling him to look out for, not to throw his nose up into the middle of a mess that could, definitely injure Knight prematurely. And Right now, he's on the inside right here. Driver's lined up on the top. He looks like he might slide back. Oh, he drives in hard. Does some contact.
Jacob Chase had to be getting nervous. That left rear quarter panel about had a date with the front end of Glenn Grimm and the 08 boy, and that was close right there. Headed out of turn number 4. If you were the crew chief, you're probably taking a deep breath there.
Definitely. But they kept it straight. These drivers are all professionals out here, and they did a really nice job. Just in front of him is Greg Veal right here. We saw him with his trouble earlier in the race. Saw some contact between him and Gregory Shepsis. It looks like that 26 Cat car is moving up through the field nicely here after some early race contact.
Yeah, making his way through the field. Drivers from New Jersey. A lot of drivers from New Jersey out there on the track tonight. If you're watching and you're from New Jersey, give us a shout out in the chat. Let us know you are a Jersey State supporter here for all these New Jersey drivers. Single file largely here on lap 33. Just going through the top 10. It's Clapper. He's led the last really probably 8-9 laps since the restart. Chris Blassie is charged to second, Chris, after starting in the 4th position. Tyler Truex, one of the most impressive drives of the night in that 69. Started 14th. He's up to 3rd position. He's one that we are on the lookout for. If anyone's going to be able to challenge the speed that Aaron Smith has tonight, right behind him, it's going to be Thomas Aaron. Truex and Aaron looking like they might have something for Aaron Smith this evening, as well as Clapper and Blassie. Chase Leahy in 6th position had a strong run last week at Daytona. Josh Kerner in 17th. Levi Cox, Chris, had a lot of speed last week. We saw a lot of these drivers really get aggressive with some of the side drafting and bump drafting in these cars, and I can't really think of one more aggressive than Levi Cox. In most cases, he made it work for him. Right, there's a difference between being aggressive and being able to pull it off and being aggressive and putting someone in the wall. But Levi Cox did a great job last week, and he's backing that performance up in that number 1. Kind of an all-black paint scheme there for Cox. Having a good run in 8th position. Anthony Burleson in that number 79 in 9th. That's a good-looking paint scheme. Can't go wrong with... Is there a problem with Chris Blassie, Chris? Did he get the wall there off the corner? I saw him dropping back right in front of these guys. Something might have happened to him off of turn 4.
Yeah, we'll go back and see.
Oh, yeah, got the wall. He got the wall, headed
yeah.
down into 3. Maybe before he got to 3.
Yeah.
He had it all the way out of 2, down the back stretch. Wow.
Yeah, he hit the wall coming off of turn 2. We'll ride on board right here with Chris Blassie. Tagged the wall right there, and I wonder if he did some damage, like he turned off of it, and it just looked like he had a hard time keeping it straight going into turn 3. Made some more contact with it. You heard him downshift. Yeah, hopefully the damage isn't too bad for the 15 car.
And watching him right now, he's right in the back of Anthony Burleson for 8th position, Chris. I think that 15 car is just fine. Kind of a moment of intense questioning going on for Chris Blassie down the backstretch. He's going to probably leave some donuts on the right side of that 15 car, but he's gathered it back up, and he is having a good run still in the 9th position, looking for more here down the front straightaway. He's got his hands full of Greg Veal, though, running 10th. Another New Jersey driver in that Cat 26. We mentioned him charging through the field. Boy, Robert Walton, Chris, I feel like I've seen him up front. I've seen him out back. Now we're seeing him charge towards the front. Again, we saw kind of an interesting pit strategy. Did we say there was a mistake on that pit stop, or he just has thought better of taking 2 tires?
It could have been either one of those things. Maybe he was expecting more drivers to take 2 tires there, or maybe he just didn't get them checked, or they got unchecked, or something like that happened. But I think he made the right decision coming back to pit road, because I think that thing would have been very ill handling, especially if we go green for a long run here.
Yeah, and looks like Robert Walton almost got the back of Veal there. Here we are with another hornet's nest of drivers. Blassie and Veal almost contact as they go down the backstretch there. You saw the 15 almost get to the back of the 26, and this is intense racing. 7 cars on top of each other. Less than a quarter of a second separate these drivers as they race down the front straightaway. Lap 39 of 175. In the chat, Chase Berry says, you guys are the best. Hey, we appreciate that. We do our best, and we do it for folks like you, Chase. You're not too bad in the broadcast booth yourself. We've heard you before. Get you up here at some point this season.
Needs to keep on doing some more of that.
Us. Yeah. Appreciate you stopping by and watching, though. Hey, if you are watching the chat, we're looking for one lucky fan to give a 1/64th scale diecast away to, and you've also got a link pinned up at the top where you can enter to win a 1/24th scale autographed Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oreo diecast simply by subscribing to our channel. You got to enter, though, via the link. So make sure you use that link to enter. It'll prompt you to subscribe. That easy, folks. That easy. We'd love to give away stuff here on the channel if you are new to us. And boy, we've got some great racing going on with a new series tonight, the Thursday Night Thunder Series. They're making plenty of thunder here out in the desert in Las Vegas. It's Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth. Thanks for joining in, everybody. And boy, this battle, Chris, from 6th on back, really all the way back through 13th, now 14th with Dan Berg, 8, 9 cars on top of each other. They're equal right now, and we're about, 20 laps into a run. This is where we saw our last caution come out, so this is going to be the real test where we start seeing what drivers have saved their right front tires, and what's it going to do? What are we looking for to know that, Chris? What are we going to be seeing in some of these cars? What's the tell if they've burned their tires up too quickly?
Just pushing the nose, having a really hard time running the bottom. Especially if it's a driver who has been, running the bottom for a lot of this run. Like, we've seen this 26 car, we've seen the 1 car, we've seen these guys running the bottom pretty consistently. Those drivers that are running the bottom lane consistently, if they're having a hard time wrapping the white line, we'll know that they're pushing up. If we see, if we ride on board with them and hear them feathering the throttle, spending more time off throttle, we know that right front tire is giving away. Center of the corner speed. That's really the big key. That's the thing that you're going to see more than anything else. Getting back in the throttle. And those guys that can get back in the throttle fast, they're going to be, their right fronts are in good shape.
Speaking of center of corner speed, Chris, battle for the lead. It's Truex and Clapper. Might now be a good time to put on that battle box to see which driver is faster, with Tyler Truex running some of the fastest laps. See how long we think, based on our insights and projections. I don't know if AI is used in here or what, but our producer has figured it out. You can see they've got a similar pace going on right now. Truex falls just a little bit further back out of turn number 4, but he's going to charge back to the inside here. 2 different approaches from drivers. You can see Clapper up about a lane or so, with Tyler Truex doing his best to wrap that white line. That's the Chris Smith line right there.
Yeah, it's just because I'm not good at running anywhere else, but I have to run down there. I think that's the line that you're going to see the fast guys running all night. The guys who are able to, keep that pace up for the entire run. If you start wandering around the track, I just think that you're really, really going to heat up that right front and just abuse your tires prematurely.
Yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity to see 2 cars right next to each other. You're going to really start to see which driver has saved those tires, and that will be a constant theme in these cars this season with long races like this. Who's able to really master tire management, with several drivers probably going to be rising to the top and really showing off their skills. Justin Clapper, Tyler Truex, they're first and second right now. That battle has simmered down just a little bit, but Thomas Aaron and Aaron Smith, they're trying to confuse us in the booth, Chris, here. Every time I look up at my timing screen, my brain does just kind of a soft reboot for a minute. But it's Thomas Aaron and that Pennzoil number 1 right now, about 4 or 5 car lengths out in front of Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith dropped to the back early after starting on the pole, and I don't know if he's just playing cat and mouse games with these guys or what, but right now he's got one of the fastest cars on that track. He was 1/10 faster than Justin Clapper that time by, and again, he is the fastest car in the top 4 that time, just actually a tick slower, I should say, than Tyler Truex, running a very fast lap there. That battle may be looking to intensify just a little bit more, and you saw right now Aaron Smith just a tick faster than Thomas Aaron. I had to slow myself down there for a second.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but we've got the previous lap times up here on the ticker right here, so you can see what your favorite driver ran this previous lap compared to some of the drivers around him. And this is going to be very helpful for us to, sort of see the pace of these drivers on the long run. Aaron Smith, a couple laps ago, man, he was far and above faster than everybody else, but seems like the closer he's gotten to Thomas Aaron in front of him right here, seems like, he's sort of slowed down just a little bit, and that's to be expected because of just the dirty air coming off of that 1 car right in front of him.
Yeah, once that car gets caught in the wake of the air kind of flying over the top and underneath that car in front, it really disrupts. And speaking of disrupts, the 69 of Tyler Truex trying to disrupt Justin Clapper's race by taking the lead from him here on lap number 50. We're almost a third of the way through race number 2 here at Las Vegas, the TNT season, Chris. Tyler Truex heard us talking. He said, I want to get up there and show these guys that I have saved my tires here. Now 30 laps into this run, we expect a fuel run. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but we expect a fuel run to be around 55 to 57 laps. So we are over the halfway point in this fuel run, and there was some concern amongst drivers like Chase Leahy as well as Justin Clapper that these tires might not be able to make it all the way on a fuel run if you do not manage them and kind of nurse them around. And right now, I'm not seeing any sign of nursing from a lot of these drivers. With some really fast laps, they are clicking off. And speaking of that, I think third and fourth are catching the leaders just a little bit. So maybe Clapper and Truex are saving a little bit.
Yeah, I think they are. I think that maybe, I saw the 69 sort of make a move right there, but didn't. I think that this is also. I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but I think this is also a good point to mention of the mile and a half. So I think this is one of the more difficult ones to complete a pass on. I think it's really, really hard to pass somebody here just because that guy in front of you that you might be faster than is Truex gets up in the wall.
That's the danger, Chris. We mentioned it. You're on the threshold, and one slip of the wheel, one slip of the pedal, one slip of your concentration can set you back, just like we saw Tyler Truex there, just about 2 car lengths back from the 63 of Clapper, grabs the wall just by a couple of inches, and you saw he lost about 10 car lengths that time.
Yeah, and I think he was going to do what I was going to mention. It's really hard to pass somebody here with the way that the progressive banking works. If you're running just a lane higher, or if you're up there in that third lane, man, it makes it really, really hard to get around that guy. And this is one of the more frustrating mile and a halves to pass on. And so I think that's why we saw Tyler Truex go up there like that, like he wanted to utilize that third lane. But I think that when he got up there, I think you saw just how tight that 69 Chevy was, how it did not turn, the nose, and I think maybe that right front is pretty worn out, like all the other right fronts out here are.
Yeah, I think all these drivers probably calling in their pit crew saying, do what you can. I need some tires at this point. Right now, the only driver who looks to be happy right now is Justin Clapper. He's out in the lead. Another New Jersey driver, and we mentioned this. He's got some experience with NASCAR. I think we talked about it last week. We'll have to talk to him if we can hear from him at the end of the race what exactly he does on a NASCAR pit crew, but he is involved with NASCAR. So firsthand experience from Justin Clapper out there in that 63 right now, having a good run out of New Jersey. Started 8th, up to 1st. Yeah. Did he finish in the top 3 last week?
He did. I think he was our second-place finisher.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think he finished second. So if he finishes in the top 3 again, we'll try to grab a word about what he does in the NASCAR pit crew. But yeah, Chris, I mentioned it earlier. Aaron and Smith are now catching these leaders, and I'm curious to go on board. I think if we run on board with the number 70 for a minute, I'm just curious if we can get an onboard, maybe with the battle box, and kind of walk viewers through a lap here on this number 70. You'll also see his heart rate up at the top right. That is a live monitor feed of what's going on with that driver Aaron Smith's heart rate right now as he approaches 2nd and 3rd position, running 4th. What's it going to look like for him to see if he can make a pass on this number 1? We'll just ride along for a moment.
Yeah, we'll ride on board with him right here. And man, that was a really good line right there from Thomas Aaron. I think the previous lap, Aaron Smith was able to poke that left front out into the wind a little bit right there and helped us. Oh, he's going to go up to the high side right here. Yeah, let's see what kind of speed he can get right here on corner exit, as I think Tyler Truex's right front is really, really giving up right here at this stage of the run. Thomas Aaron looking to make a pass right here in front of him. Down right here into turn 1. Yeah, Thomas Aaron's car is turning really well right here in front of Aaron Smith, and getting right to that white line. You don't want to give Aaron Smith any type of wind, any type of clean air on the left front headlight, and Thomas Aaron's doing a really, really good job of not giving that to him, as both these guys look into the inside now of Tyler Truex.
Yeah, they're going to make their way down the front straightaway. Smith on Thomas Aaron. They're trying to make a race of it here for the second position. Aaron into second, getting by Truex. Now Smith also edges by Truex into the third position. Truex slips back to third, but he's not done yet. He's going to drip it to the inside of the number 70. Down that backstretch, can the white number 69 get back by Aaron Smith? The answer this time around is going to be a resounding no. But Chris, you looked up at the top right. That heart rate went up for Aaron Smith. This driver, we talk about being calm, cool, and collected. Last week, we established what we think is a baseline heart rate of that driver, somewhere around 85 or 90. So, and I believe at one point in the race, he got upwards of 155 or so. And your mom, who's a nurse, I believe in the chat, said that was dangerous. So we'll be keeping an eye. I don't think we'll probably see it go that high at Las Vegas, but it's climbing. 116 going towards 120 as he reaches the back of Thomas Aaron. This is Aaron Smith going for second position right now. You mentioned Truex dropping back just a little bit. Tires definitely showing their age here. 40 laps into this run. That's put him into the clutches now of Levi Cox, Chris, who had a lot of speed last week at Daytona. I believe he turned it into a top 10 finish in that number 1 car, but he's closing in on the back of Tyler Truex. That time by, Cox is about 3/10 of a lap faster, 3/10 of a second a lap faster. And you can see just how quickly he's going to try to make that pass on Truex. Truex chooses the high line. He allows Levi Cox to go towards that race line down on the bottom. Cox is going to try to clear him off at turn number 4. Might not be able to get the job done right there, but he will do it across the line. Cox into the 4th position. Yeah, battle for second going on. Aaron Smith going after Justin Clapper, yeah. This is a 3-way battle down the backstretch.
Yeah, these guys really ran up on Justin Clapper fast, and I think they're both a little bit quicker than him, but I think Aaron Smith's quicker than both of them. Smith going to look to the inside of Thomas Aaron, and he's going to complete that pass right here in the middle of 3 and 4. I think he's going to get both of them.
Yeah, Chris, I think we're seeing that 70 go towards the front because of his tire management skills. Almost 3 wide across the line. Aaron Smith ducks in front of those 2 drivers. He steals the lead away. Thomas Aaron's going to have something to say about it for a minute as Smith looks to close the door. Thomas Aaron now second in that Pennzoil number 1. Clapper slides back to third, Chris, and I'm afraid we're seeing Clapper maybe suffer the same fate as the driver he was running in front of just a couple of laps ago, Tyler Truex. I think we're starting to see tire wear become a factor here. Lap 43 of this run, 63 of this 175 lap race. Aaron Smith now scored as the leader. Thomas Aaron second. Justin Clapper slides back to third. Levi Cox moves into the 4th position. Tyler Truex back to 5th. Greg Veal in that 26 car is running in the 6th position. And Chris, shout out real quick to 7th position, Joshua Kerner, who's just slowly working his way through the field. Now 7th after starting in the 13th position. He's just kind of consistently worked his way up over the course of the evening, running in front of Robert Walton right now. Kerner runs some fast lap times that time by. He was running lap times comparable to what was going on with 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th position, Chris. So that 14's got some life in it later on in the run. Maybe one of those guys who saved some tires earlier on after that initial pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that he and the 66 might possibly be teammates. There's a couple of Bass Pro Shops cars out there. Not sure about that, but meanwhile, we got a battle right here for third. Levi Cox looking to the inside of Justin Clapper. He's going to complete the pass. We were riding on board with Justin Clapper earlier, and you can see what a tight car looks like, a car that has really given up the right front. And it's not like he gave it up a ton. It's just, in relation to the other cars around him, he was not able to wrap the bottom as well as them, and that center of the corner speed that I mentioned earlier, you see Levi Cox right there, how he drove away from Justin Clapper right there in the center of the corner. That center of the corner speed, that's just having a little bit more right front tire at this stage of the run.
Yeah, 1/10 of a lap doesn't feel like that much over the course of a lap, but when you build that up over 4 or 5 laps, it really adds up and magnifies itself. And you can see Justin Clapper slipping back probably 25, 30 car lengths from Aaron Smith after losing the lead just a few laps ago. So it's Smith, Aaron, Cox, and Clapper, joined by Truex in the top 5. I think we're going to be getting ready for some pit stops here in just a little bit, Chris. I think it's a good opportunity to step away for just a moment, hear from our partners here at Sim Wrap Market, and we'll be back on the other end of the break for some green flag pit stops. All right, back here live in Las Vegas for the TNT Thursday Night Thunder Series. It's Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith in the booth for Slingshot Racing Media. Hey, we were just talking about it during the break. The commentator's curse struck even when we weren't live on camera, because we were going to talk about Levi Cox as he was marching towards second place by Thomas Aaron. He's caught him and tracked him back down since, but we were talking about him and he got in the wall off camera, did a little bit of damage to the right side, but you can see it is no worse for wear. He's going to jump to the outside of Thomas Aaron down the front straightaway, it looks like, trying to make a pass to the outside down in turn one. Aaron kind of shuts the door on him just a little bit, but Chris, you brought up an important point when we were talking during the break. Levi Cox finished third last week, and he told us after the race that that was his first race back on iRacing in what we think was over a year.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I've been racing for 15 years on iRacing, and I'm not that fast. He took a year off, and he's looking like he did not miss a beat. Charging into second place, he's running the fastest laps on the track. I think if we're looking at the drivers now, Chris, 52 laps on the tank of fuel. If we're looking at drivers that manage the tires the best, I think he might have Aaron Smith, the tire master, beat right now.
Yeah, he's running just slightly quicker than him right now. Not sure how much Aaron is saving, but they're very, very comparable in pace. And I don't know about you, Ellis, but yeah, I mean, I've been on iRacing a long time too, and I've taken long breaks from iRacing. And when I do come back after those long breaks, it feels like, you know, out here we're traveling 170, 180 miles an hour entering these corners. It feels like when you take a long break that everything's happening at like 1,000 miles per hour when you come back. And, you know, for Levi Cox, it doesn't seem to be an issue for him at all.
No, it does not seem to be an issue as he just got right back up to speed that quickly. We're keeping an eye on him. We're keeping an eye on Aaron Smith to see when those drivers are going to come down pit road. It's not going to be this lap. Our first taker is David Reichman. He had some contact earlier on in the race, was running back in the second half of the field. Reichman's going to be the first taker on pit road. These drivers are reaching the end of their fuel run. Yeah, Tyler Truex now in the 69. He's going to bring the 66 of Robert Walton with him down pit road. We're going to see if this is going to be the lap for the leaders. How much an advantage do you gain by coming a couple of laps early from your competitors?
It's definitely an advantage, and especially if you're somebody like Tyler Truex, who was sliding back right there. I think he abused his tires a little bit too quickly.
Here comes Levi Cox, by the way, your second-place runner down pit road for the first time under green tonight. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I think Levi Cox is looking at this as a situation of, hey, I'm really good on pace right now, but this will be a really easy way to pass Aaron Smith. It might be a lot harder to pass Aaron Smith on track than it is to pass him here on pit road.
So that is going to be something we follow here momentarily. The one, Levi Cox was running down Aaron Smith on the track, but by coming in a lap earlier, now it will be 2 laps sooner than Aaron Smith. He's going to gain what will be a quick front end advantage on tires, very likely simply based on the speed he's going to make up here in the first couple of laps on fresh tires, while Aaron Smith is still running on those old Goodyear rubbers. 56 laps on those tires for Aaron Smith. He's not alone. He's got 1st through 11th with him. Dan Berg, the last car who has not come to pit road yet, running 11th. 55 laps on those tires, Chris. So we're starting to see several of those cars come down pit road. Chase Leahy coming down pit road. Anthony Burleson down pit road. We saw the 93 as well. Thomas Aaron, the number 1 car on pit road. Aaron Smith still is out on the track, though, as many of the front runners are coming to the attention of their pit crew. Everyone looks like they're doing a good job yet. I haven't seen any excessively long pit stops. We haven't seen any drivers come back down pit road yet, to my knowledge, and that is one of the critical things these drivers have to get right. Green flag pit stops can win or lose a race. Right now, everyone doing a good job. Aaron Smith, your leader, coming down pit road under green flag conditions for the first time tonight. He's going to have to get by Glenn Grimm. He takes a detour behind the 03. It looks like he gathers it back up, though. That definitely hurt his entry to pit road speed, though, Chris.
It did. That was almost a disaster right there. And yeah, you got some drivers who attack pit road a lot different than others, and luckily Aaron Smith was on his game right there and missed Glenn Grimm as they made their pit stops. I want to bring quick attention to Robert Walton, who I think maybe had a speeding penalty or some type of issue on pit road. It looks like he was there held for a long time on pit road.
Caution is out on the speedway right now. Justin Clapper, Kerner, Chase, Blassie, Berg all have not pit, Chris. Does this hurt or help Aaron Smith? I think it actually might, depending on whether he goes a lap down. Clapper's not going to get to him, Chris. I think Aaron Smith is on the lead lap still.
Yeah, I think that he is, and I think Levi Cox is on the lead lap as well. I think both those drivers are going to be okay here. Not 100% sure what happened, Ellis. Maybe you can figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can figure it out. This is lap 79, I believe. Just looking through our stats here. That is going to be on... Hold on. Lap 79, that might have been on... That can't be right. I'm seeing Aaron Smith. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything on my end. I'm looking for an update, status update on why that yellow flag came out. Give us just a second to see if we can figure this out, folks.
Yeah, and while we try to figure that out, here come the drivers who did stay. Oh, man, we had one driver. It looks like Michael Benton hit the wall maybe under caution here. And looks like Michael's having a little bit of trouble right here, but he gets it onto pit road. Justin Clapper is going to make his way down pit road. Joshua Kerner, Jacob Chase, Chris Blassie, Dan Berg, all making their pit stops here under yellow. This caution worked out well for them, but it probably worked out better for Aaron Smith than anybody else. Looks like Levi Cox is also going to come down pit road. Interesting call right here for the driver of the one who just pit 5 laps ago. It looks like he's going to go ahead and take his tires here. I guess he's counting on
drivers drivers have 6 sets of tires.
Yeah, they got a lot of tires, and so he's probably thinking, you know what, I'm not going to use all these tires. I might as well come to pit road here and get on an even playing field with all these other guys.
Yeah, so Chris, I'm just trying to figure this out here. I'm looking on our telemetry. The only thing I can see.
We can go to commercial break real quick and see if we can.
Let's hear from our friends at SimWrap Market again while we try to find this. See if we can figure out what brought this caution out. We don't have any notifications.
We'll be right back, everybody.
All right, coming back here live from Las Vegas under caution, getting ready to go green again, but just trying to find the caution. We had to talk to some drivers to track it down. What exactly happened? We were having trouble finding it based on our telemetry, but it looked like it happened on lap 70. Let's see. Now I'm having trouble finding it once again. Lap 76.
See, Gregory Shepsis right here. Yeah, I didn't see anything occur right there, Ellis, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
We're back live here. So we're coming to the green.
Yes, we are coming to the green here. Aaron Smith leading the way. Joshua Kerner marched his way up to second. So far, hard-charging race from Kerner starting in the 13th position. He is now up in the second spot. Pace car is going to peel off, and it is going to be a double file restart. We're back green on lap 82. Smith and Kerner neck and neck at the line. In fact, Kerner might have beat him there for a second. It's Levi Cox and Jacob Chase in that 5 car up into the top 5 for the first time. 2 by 2 up front. It's going to be Cox jumping down in front of Jacob Chase. Aaron Smith off to the races with Cox right behind him. These are the 2 fastest cars before that caution, before the pit stops that came right before that. And they found themselves neck and neck once again, headed down into turn 3. It's going to be Smith and Cox. Cox jumps to the outside on top of Smith. Those cars climb the banking, exiting turn number 4, and it's going to be Cox that leads that lap, jumping out soundly in front of the number 70, rocking away now by 2 car lengths down into turn number 1. It's going to be Kerner right behind them. Blassie's got his handful with Jacob Chase and Thomas Aaron alongside Dan Berg back there, Chris.
Yeah, Dan Berg looks like he's rolling up through the field right here on that outside as Joshua Kerner drives it in deep into turn 3. Wow, what a power move.
That was a power move.
That was impressive. I don't know if that was a situation where Levi Cox maybe had a little bit of trouble, got off the throttle, maybe decided that he was pushing too hard. I believe that was his first lap led in the 1 car, so maybe he got his bonus point there for leading a lap and decided that he was just going to back off right there. But Joshua Kerner off to a great start right here on this restart.
Yeah, and that makes sense based on what we saw at the end of that fuel run, Chris. Levi Cox had done a hell of a job saving tires, and I think that strategy is probably going to be the way to go for him this second run. But Chris Blassie, as well as Jacob Chase, worked their way by a car down to the apron. That was Glenn Grimm in the 03, but he gathers it back up, and that probably rose the heart rate of the number 1 behind him, or the number, I should say, 93, technically being scored as the number 93, Thomas Aaron, but in that number 1 paint scheme. And boy, these drivers on fresh tires, they're getting it going just a little bit of a handful after driving cars that were pushing tight to be able to drive cars that are handling just a little bit better early on these restarts.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we need to probably reset everything right here to explain the situation to some of our viewers. We had a number of drivers that did take the wave around right there to get back on the lead lap. That's why you saw so many cars on the inside lined up. When you do take the wave around, you have to line up single file right there. So we're now back up to, I think, 11 cars here on the lead lap. We have a lap down car right here. That's Brandon Roberts in that 00 Dodge. He is a lap down. He's currently in the lucky dog spot right there. Glenn Grimm is currently 2 laps down, so only 1 driver scored 1 lap down at this point of the race.
Yeah, this is a really good race going so far, Chris. Honestly, I thought that we wouldn't see it as evenly matched as we have. I thought we had a couple cars that might rise to the top, but we've seen at least 6-7 drivers lead laps tonight, and not just lead by chance under caution or something like that. We've seen 6-7 drivers really have hot rods underneath them. Joshua Kerner right now is your leader. He's jumped out about a 15 car length lead as he crosses the line to start lap number 89 right now. Kerner's in the lead. I should say lap 89. Jacob Chase in second place, up 10 positions on the night, Chris. Jacob Chase, that driver out of Michigan in the 5. That's a good-looking paint scheme. He's run in Slingshot Racing League before, but we've seen him have a lot of speed. When he shows up, he is fast, and tonight, that is absolutely the case. Second place, Jacob Chase. Chris Blassie, another former Slingshot Racing League driver, in third position. He's got his hands full with, I believe that's the 26.
Yep.
I have a car. Yeah, the 26, who is 4 laps down. You mentioned Greg Veal, fast
Ooh,
car.
oh.
Oh, he slides up in front
Right
of
in front of
Blassie.
him.
Almost a catastrophe off of turn 2 there for Chris Blassie. Had a windshield full of the 26 car of Greg Veal. That's going to allow what I believe is Levi Cox actually behind Blassie.
That's Brandon Roberts in the 0-0 one lap down.
Yeah, sorry, the lap down cars are confusing me. Blassie, a little bit of side contact with the 26 of Veal. Roberts right there behind them, kind of lurking. You have to go all the way back a little bit to find Levi Cox way further back there with those cars who are on a little bit older tires.
Well, I think that Levi Cox and Aaron Smith's, I think Aaron's tires only have like one lap of green on them. I think with Levi Cox, Aaron Smith, I would think that they're just sort of pacing themselves like sort of off of each other. I don't think they want to run much faster than each other because I think they're probably sizing each other up right here as the two drivers to beat on the long run. You see how far they've fallen back on this restart here. I mean, they are a ways back from Joshua Kerner here. I think another driver who realized his mistake there in that first run is Tyler Truex back here in that 69. Throw Justin Clapper in that mix too. They're all sort of running the same speed back here. Thomas Aaron as well. So it's almost like we got two races going on. These guys that are up here in the top three, mixed in with the lap down cars, they're running pretty hard. And then everybody else in this second pack, they're just sort of pacing themselves off of each other.
Yeah, you can see a good amount of separation between those top three all the way back to fourth position. Levi Cox. And Cox has Aaron Smith he's got to worry about now. This is a battle for the fourth position. Smith and Cox, kind of the two strongest cars we've seen tonight. A little bit of an issue for Levi Cox with a little bit of a connection issue. The right side, I'm curious if Aaron Smith's heart rate jumped up a little bit when that car blinked out. Again, you'll see that happen sometimes. Sometimes the internet blinks out on these drivers and causes kind of a connection issue. When that happens, the car disappears or flashes in and out for a moment. But it looks like that internet is back up and running just fine. Levi Cox slides back into the fifth position. Aaron Smith jumps out into the fourth position. Chris, they got a good little battle going on between Aaron Clapper and Truex right behind them. You mentioned Truex doing a little bit more service for his tires this time by nursing them a little bit more, maybe just taking it a little bit easy. And hey, speaking of easy, I got some trivia questions for you. And this goes for anyone else in the chat right now who wants to chime in if they think they know the answer. We'll play a couple of Las Vegas theme trivia questions. Let me know, what is the longest running show at the Mirage? What is the longest running show at the famous casino, the Mirage?
Almost some contact right there between Justin Clapper and Tyler Truex. That's a good question.
Any guesses?
Man, I don't know. I don't have a guess.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It involves a tiger.
I'm still drawing a blank.
Siegfried and Roy.
Okay,
Siegfried and
that makes
Roy.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, right now, Joshua Kerner's kind of got the eye of the tiger, but he's got Jacob Chase closing back in on him. Going to switch gears from that battle for the fourth position with Aaron Smith and Levi Cox back up front. Joshua Kerner closing in on the lead, ran slightly, just a tick faster than Joshua Kerner. Sorry, Jacob Chase closing in on the lead. You can see that orange and black car kind of creeping into view, about now 3 car lengths back. And just looking at the difference that 5 is running when it comes to line, entering in just a little bit higher and then kind of arcing it down on exit, Chris. Do you like that strategy when it comes to tires, or is that a way to use them up just a little bit faster as we watch him really look to make a move here down into turn 1?
Well, I can only speak from my experience, but in my experience, this is how I use up tire right here. But, you know, it's hard to judge from the outside looking in. I don't know how deep he's driving it into the corner. I don't know how much throttle he's using, you know, on turn in. So, like I said, that's... Oh, you see Kerner right there. He learned. Like, you saw how he sort of drove up the track into Jacob Chase's line right there. What he's trying to do is he's just trying to disturb the air on the nose of that number 5 Chevrolet right there, and trying to use that rear spoiler on the back of his Dodge to you know, put that dirty air on that nose, and that really makes that car behind tight. You see right here, Jacob Chase sliding on corner exit a little bit, and That's what you want to do. You kind of got to do a little bit of mirror driving, even on a 1.5 mile track.
Mirror driving indeed. And hey, driver mirror driving right now, number 93 back in 5th position. That number 1 car, Thomas Aaron, has a mirror full of Justin Clapper in that number 63 black and white machine. Clapper looking to go for the 5th position. They've got Tyler Truex right behind them, but Clapper's been aggressively pursuing that number 1 here for the past 2 laps, really putting nose to the back bumper, very close to the back bumper of the number 1 of Thomas Aaron, who's been fast all night. They worked their way down the backstretch. Now lap 100 of 175. We are at a lightning pace here at Las Vegas, and right now Thomas Aaron trying to hold off Justin Clapper. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold him off without getting even more aggressive, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like Clapper right here is really attacking corner entry, riding on board right here with Thomas Aaron. Yeah, look at the angle of attack right there, entering turn 1 right there from Clapper. He was, sort of driving in a little bit more shallow right there on corner entry, and that helped him close up, but looked like he had a little bit of trouble navigating the center of the corner. We'll keep on riding on board right here. This is the gearbox cam out the back of Thomas Aaron's Pennzoil Chevy, and it looks like he's got a little bit of breathing room right now here in these last couple laps.
Little bit of breathing room opens up for Thomas Aaron in that number 1. Justin Clapper, you're watching behind him. Justin Clapper now dealing with Tyler Truex, who's been a force to be reckoned with this entire race. Truex really rocketed to the front the first 60 laps or so, but late in that run, tire wear really showed heavily on the number 69, lost several positions, but slowly working his way back up. We mentioned that he looks like he has definitely learned from his prior mistakes and transgressions, and those tires are a little bit happier like this run. About 4 or 5 car lengths back now from Justin Clapper. Looking through other close battles going on throughout the field, Chris, Chase Leahy, Dan Berg back in 10th and 11th position. Leahy to the outside. Berg's going to give up that 10th position. Really doesn't have much of a choice as Leahy rockets by on the outside. Chris, if you're just looking at speed, what line do you think is fastest tonight on sheer speed? I know tire wear throws another kind of wild card wrench in that, but you think the top line is the place you want to be with 10 to go?
I think you can definitely rip the top and you can get around a guy because you can utilize that momentum. It's so hard to pass to the inside here. I mean, it just is because, you've got that progressive banking up the hill and a driver can, just get off the corner so well. You can handle so much better than the guy in front of you. But if he is, if the difference isn't huge between your tires, he can just use this top lane right here that you see Chase Leahy running. He can just hold you off lap after lap after lap. So, yeah, I definitely think for, some sheer speed, maybe at the, when we get to the end of the race, maybe if we have a late race restart, I think going up to the top's not necessarily a bad thing. If we're on a long green flag run, oh boy, we got some.
Yeah, all I had to do was look at the heart rate monitor of Aaron Smith, and I knew something was going on there up above 120. He was working his way through some lap traffic, and boy, those were some tense moments for Aaron Smith. I hated to interrupt, but I was looking at the heart rate monitor and knew something was going down right around that number 70, and that is going to be one of the challenges that these leaders have to face, Chris. Lap traffic can often be unpredictable. You often don't know when you're going to catch it, and that is going to be a factor as this race rolls on. You've seen it play out for the first time tonight here on lap 106. Yeah, Thomas Aaron's going to face the same challenge, Benton into the wall off of turn number 2. He's going to keep it up. Everyone's going to go by. He's going to continue to graze that wall, headed down into turn number 3. And boy, he might have jumped down, not sure what he's doing. Going to try to get down to pit road, potentially not sure what's going on with that 29 car, but he might need to bring that thing down to pit road because it looks like it is heavily damaged after the riding the wall for at least half a lap, Chris.
Yeah, he was doing a really nice job of keeping it up there against the wall for a while. That's what you want to see. You would just want that predictability out of that driver who's got it in the wall. Just keep it up there until everybody gets past, but I think he maybe pulled it off the wall just a little bit too soon as Chase Leahy was coming by right there. Got a battle going on.
Yeah.
I was going to say for the lead right here. It looks like Jacob Chase closed back in on Joshua Kerner, but Kerner is still he's still maintaining that gap.
If you're Brandon Roberts right now, you really don't. Do you have to be aggressive? He's going to be the lucky dog candidate. The only car scored 1 lap down. You think he wants to do it the hard way and just go ahead and outright pass Joshua Kerner if he's got the speed to do so? What's your strategy there if you are Brandon Roberts in that double zero?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because you don't want to insert yourself into the battle for the lead. You don't want to become a factor in the battle for the lead, as we got a battle for third going on right here between Chris Blassie, Aaron Smith. I think Smith is going to make the pass right here on Blassie. Entering turn one, Aaron's doing what I mentioned before, going up to the outside of somebody. It's just easier to pass them up there than it is on that bottom side, and the 70's going to get around the 15. Yeah, I think that if you are Brandon Roberts, I think that you definitely want to try to get around them if you can do it safely. Because it's a huge track position gain right there. You don't have to wait till the second time to come to pit road. Because you're on the lead lap. The Lucky Dog has to pit with the lap down cars, and the Lucky Dog is also at the end of the longest line as well. So, you start behind a lot of guys that are a lap down. So, I would definitely get around them if I were him, if I could do it safely and respectfully.
And he is continuing to just kind of linger back there in the shadows. You mentioned it earlier, right before we started talking about that, Chris. Aaron Smith goes by Chris Blassie. That's for the third position. Smith has about a 2-car advantage right now over Blassie's. They make their way across the line here on lap 110, now 111. It's going to be Thomas Aaron and Justin Clapper in the background just a little bit there. 4 cars now racing for the third position, and we are approaching lap number 32 on average on this tire run for drivers. Last time we saw them come in around lap 56 or 57. So we're about 20 to 25 laps out from what could be, in fact, no, it will not be the final. It might, Chris. This is going to put us somewhere around 136. That would be 40 to go.
They can do it.
I think they can do it. Tires might say something different by the end of that run, but we are approaching about 20 to 25 laps away for what could be the final green flag pit stop of the night. We've had just 2 cautions tonight. 112 laps in the books of 175. We're moving at a lightning pace in this race so far. Just about an hour and 10 minutes in. This thing is going to finish in a heartbeat. Speaking of heartbeats, Aaron Smith has calmed down just a little bit on the pulse check in the top right hand of your screen. But Chris Blassie has not calmed down, Chris. He is pushing the issue here as he jumps down to the apron looking to gain a bit of an advantage on that bright number 70 in front of him. But he's going to have to settle right now into the 4th position, at least for the next lap or so. These drivers single file all the way back. I'm looking if we've got any other battles. Chris, Tyler Truex and Levi Cox engaged in a heavy battle back in 7th and 8th position right now. I believe Levi Cox might have been working his way by Tyler Truex, but Truex is not going quietly here. Side by side for at least a lap there. That's a battle for the 7th position. Reminder, Cox has been one of the fastest cars tonight consistently. 2 strategies here, 2 driving styles we've seen. Hi, Connor, in the chat, by the way. Thanks for joining us. We are glad to see Connor here. But 2 driving styles we've seen on display. Levi Cox really managed those tires and was fast at the end of the run that first time around, Chris. But Tyler Truex was fast in the beginning, reaching all the way to 2nd place, but fell back to 5th or 6th. What strategy do you like to see here, especially on what will be a 40 to 35 lap tire run if we go towards the end with no caution flag? Do you think a Tyler Truex can kind of stick with a Levi Cox for 30, 35 laps or so?
Well, I think Levi Cox is definitely going to have to I think he's going to have to push a little bit harder than what he decided to push this run. He let Aaron Smith get pretty far out. Oh, we got a caution on the speedway.
It's not going to matter. All for naught. The race changes. That very well might have been Dan Berg. We're going to see if we can find out what happened. I believe, that's going to be...
Yeah,
see if we revisit Michael Benton. Yep, he just comes down straight into the 4, Chris.
Well,
I'm not sure if that was a result of some damage. It looked like that car, we've seen it in the wall a little bit. I think there might have been some damage here on that 29 that caused him to go down into the 4 of Dan Berg, kind of an innocent bystander on the front stretch from at least first blush.
Yeah, let's go back and let's take a look at it here so everybody can see it. We'll go to the drone shot here and see if we can look at this maybe from an overhead perspective. Looks like the 29 of Benton here on the outside, Dan Berg on the inside. As you see, the 29 has had his fair share of trouble tonight, and kind of wanders down the track right there down into Dan Berg. Unfortunately, Berg was on the lead lap, so that's a very unfortunate break for him. Unfortunately,
green flag pit stops going on right now, by the way.
So we'll go back to live action here.
Green flag pit stops underway here. Lap 116 of 175, just 60 laps left. This won't be the last pit stop, but it still will be consequential. Who's going to come out in the lead as several cars come to the attention of their crew? There might have been a little bit of contact there between a couple cars on pit road. Coming in, it was that car, the 14, who led them down pit road. Will that pit stop be enough to get him back out in the lead? Aaron Smith's got that first stall. He's going to win the pit road battle. Chris Blassie, that's Justin Clapper, third, and Thomas Aaron comes off fourth. You're going to have to look all the way back to seventh, Chris, to find Joshua Kerner, who came in on the lead there. Big loser on that pit stop. Aaron Smith, you got to look at as being one of the big winners, though, as well as Justin Clapper. It's going to be Smith, Blassie, Clapper, Aaron, and Cox, your top five coming off the pit road, Chris. I was sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to make sure we had those green flag pit stops. You were mentioning just how kind of Dan Berg was in just the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep, for sure. And you hate to see that for him having a lead lap run tonight.
Connor, you're not allowed to guess what laps cautions are going to come out on. You're always too correct. We don't want to see any more cautions. We want to see green flag racing the rest of the way. But for kicks and giggles, you're saying fourth caution on lap 128. That's in about 11 laps or so. Hey, if that happened, it would be enough to get the drivers to the finish line on one tank of fuel. So we'll see if that happens.
Right
Joshua
now
Kerner says he's good. He's good with it. He wants another caution. Kerner wants another caution.
Well, it's going to be really close right now. I bet these drivers are in max fuel save mode right here because we're coming up. What do we have, about
57 laps. 58 at this point.
Yeah, so that's putting it really, really close. I mean, if we get another caution, nobody's staying out. Everybody's going to come to pit road. So it's going to be a moot point if we get another caution. But right now, the way it stands, if we don't get another caution, at the beginning of this run right here, do you maybe do a little bit of fuel conservation, possibly trying to set yourself up to make it to the end?
I think you're going to see some go for it. And one thing I want to mention, the real big winner on that caution was the lucky dog recipient, Brandon Roberts. We mentioned him up running with the top three there. That 00 now in the 11th position gets his lap back, Chris. He's been one of the faster cars on track over the course of the race. So let's not count out Brandon Roberts in that black and purple and white 00. I think we're going to be looking at that car before the end of this race. Josh Kerner says he's good with seventh right now. If he can just finish there, he's okay with it. So we're going to take another lap around here. And again, let's mention a couple things. We appreciate folks joining in the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know who you're watching for, who you are rooting for. And we're going to choose one lucky winner to send a 1/64th scale NASCAR diecast. Those are the little bitty guys. But we've got an even bigger prize that we're giving away at the end of the season. You can actually register for that Dale Jr. autographed Oreo card diecast. Right now, the link is pinned up at the top of the YouTube chat. Make sure you click that link. Make sure you subscribe, and then you'll be registered once you complete those steps. And we'll give that away after the final race of the season in January. That is a big prize. And right now, these drivers on track, they're looking for the big prize on track, which is the race win tonight. Coming to about a half a lap away from the restart, Chris Blassie, we've seen a good amount of speed tonight. We've seen him be one of these drivers that isn't afraid to get up next to the wall. Do you think he tames his approach at all if we might be looking at a green flag stretch towards the end of this race?
I think it's a good possibility. He's a smart guy, smart driver, and I think there's a good chance that he might decide to back off a little bit this run right here, try to see if he can maybe save these tires to the end. If these are the tires that are going to make it to the end, we could go green for a while, and they still might have to pit, and they just do a splash and go with as few laps as there might be.
I think we're going to see the drivers who are thinking we're going to have another caution, and you're going to see the drivers who think this thing is going green based on the mentality, based on the way we see them drive these cars here. Pace car peels off. We're getting ready to go back green. 55 laps left. Smith gets a bump from Clapper. It sends him shot out of a cannon across the start-finish line. Great restart for Smith. It leaves the rest of the top five to fight for it, headed down into turn one. Clapper and Blassie side by side. It's going to be Aaron and just Levi Cox on the second row there. Top four Chris, you can throw a blanket over these guys right now. Clapper, Blassie, Aaron, and Cox. Now it's Blassie and Clapper. I told you, Blassie's not afraid to run that high line and stick it in high gear. Oh, Clapper gets loose. Blassie gets loose. Clapper has to drive it up the track. Levi Cox and Thomas Aaron almost have contact. Big battle going on for the second position right now. Every driver wants it. No one's saving anything. Blassie and Clapper almost come into blows once again. That's Tyler Truex taking it 3 wide to the inside. Down the backstretch, Truex, Blassie and Clapper throw a blanket over him, headed down into turn number 3.
Oh, looks like Blassie almost got up into Clapper, but he backed off right there and really saved the whole field.
Lots of driver skill on display here. Tight racing, but we are still yet under green flag conditions. A couple of near misses there, but we are still going at speeds upwards of 190 miles an hour, headed into the corner. 3 wide, it's Aaron, Truex, and Kerner now on the outside. Coming from 7th, Kerner looks to get back into the top 5, if not top 4 here on lap 122. Chris, drivers are giving it their all. This is the most intense racing we have seen all night long as they cross the finish line. Once again, it looks like Aaron Smith's got Levi Cox now right on his back bumper. This is a battle for the lead.
It looks like Levi Cox has decided he's going to push it a little bit harder this time. We mentioned him before. He was just riding. He was taking it really easy, even easier than Aaron Smith, and he's decided he's going to push it a little bit more on this restart, and he's all over the back bumper of the 70.
And you can see Aaron Smith right now, his pulse rate isn't that much higher than normal, Chris. That is a great graphic and something to talk about. This guy who's got 5-6 cars breathing down his throat in the closing stage of the race is maintaining his resting heart rate for the most part, somewhere around 90 beats per minute. He's not that far off it right now. That is absolutely crazy that he is able to keep that cool under pressure. Levi Cox now, Justin Kerner, Chris, Josh Kerner, I should say, has what appears to be the fastest car on the track. Kerner's ripping that high line. He's going to go for second. If he can hold on to it, he carries the momentum off. He can't get Cox, but he's going to take another shot at it down into turn number 1.
Yeah, that Dodge is rolling on the outside right here, and we saw that in that previous run right there, how he jumped out there. It looks like it's a little bit more challenging this time, as I think some of these guys are pushing a little bit harder than they were earlier.
Yeah, definitely a little bit harder. Aaron Smith, I'm wondering how hard he is pushing right now to maintain that lead. He's got Kerner breathing down his throat on that outside line. With that line, as you're seeing right now, it's only going to be a matter of time before Joshua Kerner in the 14 can jump to the outside of the 70 of Aaron Smith and make an attempt to take that lead. It's going to happen now in turn number 1, lap 126. Just now 50 laps to go. We're in the final third of this race, and the intensity is at its highest level tonight here in Las Vegas. Final third, Kerner to the lead, Aaron Smith second. That third car in line is Jacob Chase, the number 5, is in third position. Chris Blassie not far behind in fourth, and Levi Cox back to 5th, Justin Clapper 6th. This is, you can tell, this is the money stage right here, Chris. These drivers are not leaving anything on the track. They are going for it right now. Kerner in the lead. Blassie now going for second around the banana mobile of Aaron Smith, who's going to fall into the clutches of Jacob Chase, as well as Levi Cox. Top 5, Kerner, Blassie, Smith, Chase, and Cox. You've got to go back to 6th to find Clapper. Chris, Brandon Roberts, want to mention him, the car we talked about being the Lucky Dog recipient. He is up to the 7th position after restarting 11th. Don't count that 00 out.
No, it's definitely got a lot of speed in it, and yeah, he has to start behind all the drivers who were a lap down, so this is an impressive drive up through the field right here as Kerner looking to these. It looks like Chris Blassie's gotten around him.
Yeah, Blassie now to the lead here, lap 128. It is intensely picking up here. Right now, if you've joined us in the chat, John Rapp, Chris, he heard Dodge, and he joined the chat immediately. Also, Glock Lesnar says Chase just survived Milton last night and is still here to kick ass, man. Just want to share our thoughts with the people in Florida and North Carolina and the rest of the Southeast who have been dealing with horrific storms for the past week or two. We're just thinking about everyone, including some of our drivers racing tonight. So right now, they're putting on a good show for them out on track. Blassie and Kerner doing battle. Kerner's not going away, Chris. We saw Blassie get by. Kerner works his way back up to the lead using the top line, and I'm feeling like this is a restrictor plate track. We're 10 laps after the restart, and it hasn't settled down at all as they head down into turn one.
Levi Cox.
There goes Levi Cox. Tyler Truex into the back of him. They're going to collect a handful of other cars. Maybe, maybe not. It's going to be a two-car incident. Yes. Several other Cox. Yep, Reichman, and that was also, the 6, and I believe that was Tyler Truex he got into. That's going to end the night, I would imagine, of Tyler Truex. Looking at that car, Chris, he had been top 5 much of the evening. We're going to return to the scene of the crime here on lap 130 of 175 to see if we can't figure out what happened.
Yeah, we'll try to watch this from an overhead perspective here. And entering turn 1 right here, they got really, really close right here. It looks like, I saw Clapper and Truex bounce off of each other entering 1, and that brought my attention all the way back here. And, it looked like Justin Clapper just got into the back of that number 1 right there of Levi Cox. We're going to roll this forward just a little bit more right here. Oh. And you'll see Tyler Truex, just an innocent bystander right here, just could not avoid that spinning 1 car right there.
And I want to point out right now, Tyler Truex not happy with the 63. Justin Clapper, Tyler Truex side by side on track. The 69 letting that 63 know about his displeasure as they head down pit road. I'm curious to see if it goes further than any of this. The 69 contact with the 63 of Justin Clapper coming down pit road. Clapper's been in the top 3 all night. Truex is going to let him go here, but not before he voices his displeasure by a little bit of contact there on pit road.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch all this as soon as these green flag pit stops, these yellow flag pit stops cycle through right here. And that was just a couple drivers or one driver very unhappy with another one, it looked like.
Aaron Smith leads them down pit road. Chris Blassie, Thomas Aaron, Chase Leahy into the top 5 for the first time tonight, joined by Brandon Roberts, Chris. We're going to see Kerner might beat Aaron Smith off of pit road. No, it's going to be Smith, Kerner, Blassie. The real battle is between Jacob Chase and Justin Clapper. Looks like Clapper beats him out by about a pinky length there. And then it's going to be Brandon Roberts back to 6th. Levi Cox, Chris, regroups. I don't think he got a lot of damage there. He's going to be back to 7th position. Burleson in 8th off of pit road. Thomas Aaron, Chris, I feel like might have been one of the biggest losers there. Back to 9th off of pit road. Not sure if he just had a slow stop, maybe slid into his pit stall. But, we're going to go back and watch. Watch this little do-si-do between the 63 and the 69 down pit road.
Ellis, aren't you happy that you're not a league owner anymore and you don't have to deal with this anymore?
These are the moments that make me not miss. Lots of amazing things we did with Slingshot Racing League, but these moments are the ones that make me tense up just a little bit. I'm glad to be in the broadcast booth right now instead of kind of watching this unfold from the owner's box.
Yeah, and, at the end of the day, I don't see any damage on the 63. It wasn't anything too crazy right there, so...
I would be concerned if I was the 5, though. I think that was kind of the car I was watching there who was not involved with that at all. I had to get off into the grass, and I don't know if he was just showing an abundance of caution, but I think I would have been a little bit miffed if I was Jacob Chase there kind of dealing in the middle of these two guys' beef coming down pit road. So... Connor, by the way, was 2 laps off of his guess, Chris. He was 2 laps off of his guess. Stop it, Connor. No more guesses for you about what lap the caution is coming out. Hey, if you are watching right now, we greatly appreciate your viewership. We're giving away a free 1/64th scale diecast for just simply saying hi in the chat. And don't forget, don't miss that little message pinned up at the top of the chat to sign in or register for our 1/24th scale autographed Dale Jr. Oreo diecast giveaway. So be keeping an eye on that. We'll do that in January. But, hey, appreciate everyone joining. Hi, Glock Lesnar. I see the little play on words there, like the wrestling reference as well as other references. Chris, what do you think's going to happen in these final 38 laps or so here from Vegas? I don't know who's going to win this race. Like, Normally, we're saying that was super speedway races. Chris, I'm watching, by the way, Thomas Aaron coming down pit road one more time here from the 9th position, or the 8th position, I should say. Not sure what that is about, but we're going to be lining up here for the restart with the leader choosing the inside or outside. Looks like Aaron Smith's going to go with the inside. 66 of Walton's going to get his lap back, taking the wave around, going in front of the pace car. What do you think's going to happen here in these final 38 laps?
Probably some more chaos if that previous restart was anything to to look at. I think that, with these drivers, feeling like there's, less than a fuel run left in the race, I think that, they feel like they can push a little bit harder, a little bit, be a little bit more aggressive right here. It looks like the 63 of Clapper is falling to the back. Don't know if he's getting an EOL for the
he was.
For the caution.
Clapper was given an EOL for the cause of the caution, but interestingly enough, our race director has given Tyler Truex a black flag as well. I'm not sure that's really going to have any impact on Tyler's race, but I think sending a message about that behavior on pit road is what the race director was after there. So tough decisions have to be made here, but again, this is a league of exceptional drivers racing every single week, and mistakes are made, and we'll kind of move on here for the final 39 laps or so. And Aaron Smith wanting to really move on as we get this race back underway. The pace car getting ready to peel off here in just a moment. It's going to be Smith and Kerner, Chris. Kerner was the big surprise to the last restart in that number 14 car. We'll see what he's got for Aaron Smith this time by. Pace car's off. They're in the Geico restart zone. Smith jumps to the lead, takes the green flag. It's Kerner and Blassie doing battle for second. Kerner really doesn't get the jump on the restart, Chris. Brandon Roberts jumps down to third position. He was the lucky dog recipient 15 laps ago, now going for second in that double zero. I told you that was a car we should keep an eye on. Blassie not going to go quietly, though, here. They've got Levi Cox right behind them. They're going to have to be careful with that one who's going to want to get back up to the front after being involved in that last incident. He gets that damage repaired, and that car looks to be just as fast as it was before he found the wall earlier.
Yeah, it is. Aaron Smith off to a really, really good start right here. Getting out in front right here. Battle for second, as you mentioned. Brandon Roberts to the inside of Chris Blassie. I think Chris Blassie, I think he takes a couple laps to get going. Oh, Roberts loose
Levi
on the inside.
Cox loose as well.
Yeah, I think that I didn't see the one, but I was, we were focused on the double zero right there. I think the double zero actually got those left sides down on that white line, and it sort of upset that that dodge. But he's gotten it straight right now, and we'll see if he can get back in line right here, catch his breath, and get after these guys. And here comes Blassie. As I mentioned, I think he just needs a lap or two to get going, and once he does, that 15 Chevy is a rocket ship.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on that black and white 15. Him and Aaron Smith come close together. But Blassie's got the better end of that battle right now. They head down into turn 3. It's Blassie who climbs the banking on the outside. Smith and that Banana Mobile on the inside. They are neck and neck. You couldn't really separate them at this point. Blassie and Smith, not sure who's going to lead that lap. It was Blassie that time by. But that duel allows Kerner, Roberts, as well as Cox and Leahy to draw ever closer to the battle for the lead. It's a 6, now 8-car battle for the lead, separated by less than a quarter of a second. Blassie in the wall. It's going to be a big one down the back straightaway. Kerner gets into the double zero of Roberts, and we are under caution for the 5th time tonight. And that could have been a lot worse, Chris, than it ended up being. And I attribute the minimalization of the wreck there to Kerner, who got it down to the wall before doing any more damage.
Yeah, he did a really, really nice job right here. We're going to go back and take a look at what occurred. There's Kerner up there on the high side. He got a little bit loose right there, but it was Blassie up in front of him. I noticed that Chris Blassie was like he's having a little bit of trouble right here through 1 and 2. A lot of bumps over here in 1 and 2. This is a pretty bumpy track. It's sort of deceptively bumpy, but he gets up in those right here, and we're focused on Joshua Kerner because that's going to be really where the action is centered in this crash right here. Watch Blassie hit the wall right there. Joshua Kerner tries to avoid Blassie. Blassie's a little bit sideways, right front into the left rear, unfortunately into Brandon Roberts, and unfortunately that double zero's got some damage. But everybody else is going to get away with it, I do believe. We'll go back and
got lucky there. Sorry. I muted myself. My apologies. We got lucky there and really avoided what could have been a much worse crash. because drivers kind of had some heads-up moves. And yeah, we mentioned Blassie. Really, it's a fine line, man. You live and die by the sword. With Blassie going up high, you gain a lot of speed, but that car is wiggly off the top, and it wiggled just a little bit too much for Blassie. Gets away with one, though, for sure, as we watch Glenn Grimm go ahead and take the lucky dog here. We're going to add 11 cars to the lead lap. Glenn Grimm coming up in that number 03. Or 08. He's going to be the last of 11 on the lead lap.
Yeah, we're riding on board right there with Joshua Kerner, checking out his perspective. And you see, he just had nowhere to go. Very, very unfortunate for Kerner. Don't know how bad the damage is. It looks like the left front, the right front, both of them taking some damage right there. So super, super unfortunate for Joshua Kerner and for Brandon Roberts. I don't know how bad the damage is to Roberts. Looks like he has actually come to pit road, try to get some of his damage fixed, and see if these drivers can get back in the race.
Yeah, several fast cars, at least two that likely had a shot for the win, Chris, taken out there or taking really substantial damage. Blassie involved in that as well. He retains second position, really gets lucky, able to hang on to it after getting loose off the corner and kind of causing the traffic jam that all made that happen. And man, this is an ominous message that just came through the chat, Chris. At 9:28, Joshua Kerner said, "This is fun." Now, I don't know why he was typing while he was driving, but I don't think Kerner's having as much fun now as he was earlier, unfortunately. So, Kerner there. Yeah, Kerner there is going to try to get that damage fixed. But right now, I think we're going to be getting ready to line up for the one to go, maybe?
And we're still on the...
Yeah, well, I think we got two.
Yeah.
Two to go here. We're going to go ahead and take a quick step away, quick break. We're going to hear from our partners at Sim Wrap Market. We've seen some good paint schemes out on the track tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those wraps were provided by Sim Wraps Market. Check them out and find the link in our video description. We'll be back on the other end of this break. I can't believe we just can't get to the end of this race. Jesus, like it had been moving fast. That'll be over before we know it, knock on wood. Some of these boys. Michael Benton, I'm glad he's off the track. Here at Las Vegas, it has been a night of great racing and a few wrecks put us under caution for the fifth time tonight. Cars getting ready, lined up, double file here for the restart. It's going to leave us with about 34 laps left, 33 when we take this green flag. Resetting it, it's Aaron Smith, Levi Cox, their first and second on the front row. Jacob Chase, Justin Clapper, third and fourth, chasing that black and orange number 5, Clapper in the 63. Clapper really was in the midst of what brought out that caution. We saw Chris Blassie get loose off the corner, and I believe Chris Blassie was given the EOL, Chris. That's why he went from second all the way back to the 9th position. It's Clapper 4th, Leahy 5th, Anthony Burleson's going to be 6th, Thomas Aaron, we've seen him have a fast machine all night, going to be 7th, Roberts in the 8th position after getting a little bit of damage repaired, Chris Blassie in 9th. It's going to be Glenn Grimm rounding out the top 10, Chris. 38 laps, I should say 33 laps to go here. Aaron Smith waiting for that pace car to peel off for him to be able to take the green flag. They're going to enter the Geico restart zone, potentially for the last time tonight. Levi Cox is outside. It's a drag race initially, but it looks like Aaron Smith's able to get through that second gear just a little bit faster. Cox is going to fall back about 2 car lengths. It's going to be Clapper and Chase. The race side by side, headed down into turn number 1. Battle between Leahy and Burleson as well. That's a battle for the 5th position. Thomas Aaron right behind them, as well as looks like Gregory Shepsis in the 27. He's a lap down, though. But, Chris, this is just the intensity of racing. Man, it's picked up a lot sooner than I thought it was going to, for sure. But I'm impressed with what these drivers have been able to do tonight, because let's mention, these cars, by the time these tires are kind of broken in a little bit by lap 20 or 30, these cars are handling pretty poorly.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's why you're seeing just, this side-by-side contact that we've seen a little bit here. Drivers tacking the wall. It's just because, later in the run right here, man, these things are just really, really hard to handle. As we got a battle for the lead right here. Levi Cox on the inside of Aaron Smith.
Levi Cox makes that pass on the inside, down into one. He's going to rocket away. It's going to put a car length between him and Aaron Smith, who's now fell into the clutches of Justin Clapper, Thomas Aaron, and Jacob Chase. 4 cars toss a blanket on him. Smith's going to try to make a pass for the lead once again, but it looks like Levi Cox closes the door. It's going to allow Clapper to gain momentum on the outside. He might want more. He's going for the lead on the outside, down the backstretch. The 43's taking off like a rocket. To the outside he goes. Levi Cox, they're both going to climb the banking through turns 3 and 4. It's going to be Thomas Aaron, the biggest winner here in the last 2 laps, moves up 4 positions from 6th to 2nd now.
We saw Thomas Aaron come down pit road again earlier, and I was wondering what was going on right here, but he's been taking it really, really easy after that first run, and he's really rocketed to the front here, and Aaron Smith sliding back a little bit, back to the 4th, maybe even the 5th spot.
Yeah, Aaron Smith looking like he's saving tires potentially, unless there's bigger problems brewing in the cockpit of that number 70. He's running 5th now. Justin Clapper got his hands full with Thomas Aaron. We'll see their lap times as they cross the line. I would imagine Thomas Aaron's going to be at least a click faster, and that is indeed the case. Aaron jumps to the outside. He's going to think about it at least for another lap or so. He tucks in behind the back bumper. For now, he now goes to the inside, down the back straightaway. Wet at first, you fail, try again. It's going to be Thomas Aaron to the inside now under Justin Clapper, who's going to have to do a yeoman's work to head off that charge from the number 1. So far, he's doing it. The 63 side by side now with the 1 down the front straightaway. We're now on to lap 148 of 175, entering the closing stages of this race number 2 of the TNT series from Las Vegas. The battle for the lead is as intense as it has been, Chris. I saw a little bit of a wiggle from the 1 of Thomas Aaron that time by.
Yeah, just a little bit right there. Clapper is going to clear him, maybe entering turn 3. He will clear him, but you got the 1 of Aaron driving back down to the bottom right here. They're going to come off this corner side by side. Great battle for the lead right here between these two.
Absolutely great battle between the 63 of Clapper and Thomas Aaron, now side by side for the 3rd lap in a row. Wow, this is intense racing. Connor Lyons, it is his hometown. He's from Las Vegas in the chat. Thanks for saying, hey, we're hoping we're doing you proud here at your hometown track, Connor. Right now, great race. It's about 10, 15 car lengths back to 3rd position. Jacob Chase and Levi Cox. That's a whole battle in and of itself. We can kind of see it in the background, but right now, all eyes are on the lead in Las Vegas. Justin Clapper and Thomas Aaron. This battle is not simmering down one bit. If anything, it's picked up in the last lap or so as Thomas Aaron tries to find a way around Justin Clapper. Chris, earlier you talked about just how difficult it is to pass here.
It's very, very difficult, and you see right here, Aaron's doing everything he can to get around him, get that clean air on the nose. He knows that now is his best shot. He's going to drive down to the bottom again, but watch Clapper right here on corner exit. Watch that 63 car. Look at the run that he gets. Oh my gosh, Thomas Aaron almost had him cleared right there off of turn 4, but Clapper's just hanging on that right rear, just doing everything he can to maintain that position on the right rear. But I think that Aaron's going to get him right here entering turn 1.
Aaron clears him by at least now a car length. It's Clapper back to 2nd, down the back straightaway. You'll see Jacob Chase creeping into the picture in that number 5, but behind him, Aaron Smith, one of the fastest cars all night, seems mired back in 4th position, doing battle with Brandon Roberts and Levi Cox, 2 other cars we've seen up front earlier in the race. Anthony Burleson, highest position. He's held all night in 7th. Meanwhile, Chris Blassie running for the lead earlier, now back to 8th position, Chris. These drivers are jockeying it back and forth as much as you see in a horse race here at Las Vegas tonight. Excellent racing. Just now 23 laps remaining. Thomas Aaron, about 4 car lengths. He's slightly opening it up, Chris. That time by, he was about a 10th and a half a lap faster than Justin Clapper. And We'll continue to see that lead build just a little bit. That time it jumped to 0.2 of a second faster. I'm curious, has Justin Clapper worn all the new off those tires just 5 laps in, or is Thomas Aaron that much faster?
Well, I think that maybe Thomas Aaron is pushing harder right now than maybe he has all race. You know, we saw him early in the race show a lot of speed, and well, not too long after that, we saw the 70 and the 1 come up through the field. So, maybe Thomas Aaron has just sort of playing a little bit of silver fox on us, maybe just sort of riding a little bit, taking it easy, trying to get to this point in the race right here so that now he can let it loose and let it all hang out, and that's what he's doing right now. The only problem is Jacob chasing the wall off of turn 2.
Jacob Chase, hard contact with the wall. He's going to try to collect it. Levi Cox, Brandon Roberts going to go around. Burleson's going to be next to try to get that position from Jacob Chase, who made that mistake off of turn 2 down the backstretch, but he's going to fight back right now. The 0-0 to the inside. Jacob Chase trying to get that position back, going back for 5th position, but Brandon Roberts, again, Chris, just about 25 laps ago, that car was a lap down. He's now running in 5th position. So fortunes can change and turn on a dime very quickly here in the city of Luck, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Brandon Roberts also had a lot of contact in that deal on the backstretch with Joshua Kerner, but we see him, he's got that damage fixed, it looks like. Not much, I don't really see anything on the right side, so I don't think it's hurting him now at this point, and he's trying to come back up through the field right here. He's now up into the top 5 again.
Top 5 indeed now. Thomas Aaron, still your leader. He's jumped out to about 1.6 seconds of lead. Justin Clapper doing everything he can to fight back, Chris, but the car I'm keeping an eye on, Aaron Smith, trying to get by Justin Clapper now for 2nd position. This battle is going to determine a lot, as Aaron Smith has just now 19 laps left to get to the lead if he is going to win this race. Justin Clapper doing everything he can do to hold him off. These cars have been equally matched for much of the evening. Oh, Clapper, close contact there almost with the right rear bumper of Aaron Smith. That's going to allow Levi Cox, Chris, who's had a hot rod all night long, to join that once again. This is a battle for 2nd position with 3 cars pretty much on top of each other.
Yeah, they're really, really close right here, and we saw Justin Clapper not giving an inch. You can see how hard it is to complete a pass here. Aaron Smith's going to do it, though. Man, if Levi Cox can get to the right rear of the 63 here entering turn 1, he didn't quite get there. He wanted to get there. Clapper going to look to the inside. Now, here's Levi Cox's chance right here. I think that he recognized it. I think he's going to follow Aaron Smith through right here. And I think that these two right here, these two have been sort of judging their pace off of each other all night, I believe. And here they are right here running 2nd and 3rd. Can they, in these final 17 laps, do anything with Thomas Aaron, who has about a 2-second lead?
I think this time by is probably going to be the first time we have a direct comparison, Chris, between these drivers. In that time by, Thomas Aaron ran a 31.8. Aaron Smith ran a 31.8 as well, just a few hundredths off of each other. It's about a half a straightaway that separates the leader, Thomas Aaron, from his counterpart, Aaron Smith, in that number 70. They're going to have about 16 laps to settle it out as they cross the line to hit lap 160. Thomas Aaron is your leader in that red and black Pennzoil machine. Aaron Smith 2nd. Levi Cox, don't count him out either. That time he was on pace with the leader, Chris, but Aaron Smith, news alert, was about a 10th faster than Thomas Aaron that time as he begins his campaign in these final 4 laps. And as we watch the battle forecast scroll in here, it's saying they're evenly matched.
Yeah, about a 10th and a half. And at a 10th and a half, I mean, that's going to put him right there, and that's going to put him catching him. As you know, Ellis, catching and passing them are 2 different things, and I don't know how much it was that lap. Yeah, it wasn't as much that time. It was only half a tenth of a second. So, if I'm Aaron Smith right here, Aaron knows better than anybody. Levi Cox as well. Put him in that mix too. They know how hard they're pushing better than we do. So they know how much harder they can push in these final 15 laps. Same deal with Thomas Aaron. He knows what he's got left as well. This time by right here, I think that maybe Thomas Aaron maybe ran a little bit quicker. We'll see here at the line. Nope, it was Aaron Smith. It was Thomas Aaron who was a little bit quicker that time. So, That Pennzoil Chevy, he's showing that he's still got a little bit in the tank.
Yeah, and Chris, one thing to note, he is on fresher tires than everybody else. So when we talk about a fall-off point or a crossover point where those tires really go downhill fast, which driver might reach that quicker? I think Thomas Aaron has the leg up on Aaron Smith here.
Yeah.
And you see it. This distance keeps on growing between these two drivers. Now, Aaron Smith has Levi Cox in his rearview mirror, similar to last week at Daytona. Your top 4 include top 3 finishers from last week. So the cream is definitely rising to the top. Even though we're at a different style track tonight, some of the best drivers here are emerging 2 weeks in a row. And I don't know, just now 13 laps remaining. Something significant or a caution is going to happen. We haven't seen one in the past 30 laps or so, but that doesn't mean one can't emerge in the closing throws of this race. And that time by, Chris, Aaron Smith was just a tick faster, but Levi Cox was the fastest car on the track that time by. And that's showing right now. Cox draws even with the back bumper of Aaron Smith. Will he try to make a move and throw it down into turn 1? He's going to think better of it this time by, maybe setting up a pass on the exit of turns number 3 and 4. If he can draw a bead with Aaron Smith headed down the front straightaway down into turn number 1. They're looking like there's about a car length separation between these two drivers, Cox and Smith. Now Cox trying to go for that second position over Aaron Smith, trying different lines. The last couple of laps, Levi Cox has positioned himself a little bit differently. That time it's going to work. He's going to go to the inside down the back straightaway. Not sure who's going to have the preferred line down into 3 and 4. Aaron Smith, can he make it stick on the outside? It looks like he's going to mash that throttle just a little bit sooner than Levi Cox, and he's going to be able to hold on at least momentarily to the second position while all this is going on. Thomas Aaron, that number 1 Pennzoil car, is looking in his rearview mirror, and you can see the grin through the front windshield, Chris, right now. He is loving what he is seeing between Levi Cox, who falls off the pace of Aaron Smith just a little bit. But if you're Thomas Aaron, you got a 2-second lead right now. You just got to nurse it home these final 9 laps.
Yeah, for sure. He's looking really, really good right here. He's probably feeling really good as well for these final 9 laps, as Aaron Smith's got a lot to worry about right there with Levi Cox. That's what he wants right here. He wants Aaron Smith to be looking in that rearview mirror instead of out that windshield. And yeah, if I am Thomas Aaron, I'm feeling really, really good about these final closing laps right here. I've got a nice, comfortable margin. I can maybe even take it a little bit easy, maybe save a little bit of tire in case comes down to another caution flag here. Who knows what people will do on that caution flag? And I'd maybe hold on to a little bit of tire here.
Another little battle we got going on back here. I'm watching Glenn Grimm and Gregory Shepsis. They're not on the same lap, but they've been trading blows back with Glenn Grimm in the 11th position and Gregory Shepsis a few laps behind in 12th position, but that does not mean he is racing any less energetically. Shepsis draws even with the back bumper of Glenn Grimm, who's in the 11th position. Just some other racing going out on the track right now, Chris. This battle for the lead is certainly important, but there is other racing going on, as there has been all night long. Some good battles going on the track, but right now, you mentioned it, the lead is pretty much Thomas Aaron's to lose. Aaron Smith and Levi Cox, though, they're trying to chase him down. Chris, that time by, they picked up about a 1/10 and a half. I don't think that's going to be enough, though, with just 8 laps remaining now, 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, the math doesn't quite work out as he looks like Levi Cox getting a little bit loose right there entering turn 3, and yeah, I don't think that the math is going to work out for these guys. I think they're just a little bit too far back at this point. Yeah, that's unfortunate for them, but it's great for Thomas Aaron. He has played the cards right tonight, and he's out front to a comfortable margin right here. It looks like Aaron Smith's car sliding a little bit right there in the middle, 1 and 2. I think that right front tire is feeling like it's been pretty punished at this point of the run right here. Maybe Levi Cox thinking that he's got a little something for him.
How aggressive do you have to be if you're Thomas Aaron? Because right now, you could put it kind of into a lesser gear, not literally, but metaphorically. But do you run the risk of them picking up a couple of tenths every lap and potentially being there on the final lap?
I've always found it to be really hard to do that, Ellis. I've always found it really hard just to back off and and ride in anticipation of something that might or might not happen. As here comes Levi Cox to the inside of Aaron Smith. He's going to complete the pass entering turn 3 right here and move the 1 Dodge up to the 2nd spot. Aaron Smith's going to try to come back to his inside right here. He's not going to get there. But yeah, I've always found it really hard, Ellis, to just back it off, you know, in a hypothetical situation.
One of the things we have been seeing is Levi Cox and Aaron Smith have been closing the gap ever so slightly. You see Levi Cox's rear end fishtail a little bit there. They're down to about 1.6 seconds, but there's only 4 laps left here if they're going to catch the leader, Thomas Aaron, that driver out of Texas. Really kind of a hometown driver, one of the drivers closest to Las Vegas, Nevada, out in the West. Thomas Aaron out to a now 1.5 second lead. It's closing just a little bit, but there's only 4 laps left, Chris. I think if you extend this to it, maybe 10 laps to go, this might be a different story. But, and again, we're saying this like a caution flag is not going to come out. You never know in the final now. Coming to 2 laps to go for Thomas Aaron if he's going to hold on for his first win of the season here in race number 2 at Las Vegas. Was not in Daytona last week, but he looks to get it back on track here with a win in Las Vegas. And meanwhile, Levi Cox stretching it out now to a 2-car length lead, but he's got it down to 1.4 seconds. He's just not going to have the time he needs to catch Thomas Aaron. About a lap and 3/4 away, and once Thomas Aaron gets that white flag, a caution will end it. So we wouldn't have any sort of green-white checker, and for that matter, there would be no green-white checkers. Even if we had a caution a couple of laps ago, Chris, we would have finished this thing under yellow now with Thomas Aaron coming to the white flag just a lap away from the win, and those drivers behind him continue to close. It's going to look closer than it really was here in the final lap of the race when they crossed the line, Chris. But man, just really impressed with Thomas Aaron in that run. I'm impressed with Levi Cox, Chris, after saying he missed, stayed off of iRacing for over a year. You would never know. He hasn't missed a beat. And, of course, Aaron Smith, last week's winner at Daytona, ever strong. That's going to be a battle for second place going into the corner side by side. But it's going to be Thomas Aaron, who missed race number 1 of the season. But tonight, he finds himself number 1. Thomas Aaron wins in Las Vegas. It's going to be Levi Cox beating Aaron Smith to the line by a nose, Chris.
Oh boy, no.
0.001. No, it's Aaron Smith who got it by 0.001 over Levi Cox, who rounds out our top 3. Brandon Roberts 4th. Justin Clapper finishes 5th. Wow.
Yeah, great finish to the line right there. Great driving from those guys coming to the line right there in that battle for second. That battle definitely did not disappoint. And this is another guy right here that just did not disappoint tonight. Thomas Aaron bringing it home, bringing that Pennzoil Chevy home to victory lane here in Las Vegas. Going to get a little congratulation tap right there from Justin Clapper. And I think that we're going to see a little bit of a smoke show here on the front stretch, possibly.
Going to see a little bit of a burnout from Thomas Aaron, that driver out of Texas. Let's see what he's got here. Let's just kind of listen in and watch.
There he goes.
All right, so we're going to be waiting on Levi Cox. He is in the waiting room. We'll pull him into the broadcast booth and hear from him. He's your 3rd place finisher tonight. Hey, Levi Cox, it's Ellis and Chris up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yes, sir. Hello, Ellis. Hello, Chris.
Oh, man, it's good to hear from you. Good to talk to you again after a 2nd place finish in Daytona last week. You almost got another 2nd place here tonight. You're going to settle for 3rd. I believe the difference, you probably saw it, was 0.001 seconds behind Aaron Smith. Man, we were just talking about how just amazing it is that you, if we remember right, said you were off iRacing for several months, if not over a year, before you came back at Daytona last week, and you finished on the podium the first 2 races of the season. Talk to us a little bit tonight about what amounted to a real night of ups and downs, as we saw you involved in some incidents midway through the race, but you recovered. What was it like out there?
Yeah, it'd been a couple years. It was fun. It was the first race that I've had back since like I said, a couple years, but first race where I've had to save some tire, and so I had to get used to that. I was trying to use Aaron there as a guide, and that first run was fun. First long run was fun because we fell way back, and then at the end of that run, it was me and him running 1-2. So that was fun to get back in the groove of saving some tire. And yeah, I thought my day was done whenever I got spun. I just knew I was going up and smacking the wall, but luckily I stayed out of it. So it was fun out there.
When you did smack the wall, did you have damage that needed to be repaired?
No, there was no damage at all. So
Oh man, I don't think I've ever been that lucky in these cars. But man, you pulled it off tonight. Pulled a rabbit out of your hat there to walk away with a third place finish. Before we let you go celebrate that second podium of the season, you got any shout outs for the fans at home?
yeah, shout out to Larry Yingling for being the crew chief again tonight. This league, Thursday Night Thunder, you guys for the broadcast, and Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Awesome, man. Well, that's Levi Cox, your third place finisher. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, sir.
All right, so that was third place, and we're not going to bring in Aaron Smith, second place. He's now in the booth.
Aaron Smith, our second place finisher. This is a Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Man, Aaron, it looked like it was going to be your night for a long time. We saw you holding on to that right front, conserving. Tell us how hard it was just to not press that foot on that gas. We saw you slide back there at the beginning of the run, a few times, especially at the beginning of the race, but then you charge back up through there. Looked like it was a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, the track was a little cooler than I'd hoped for there. Like all the practice I did this week was on a 130-degree track, and that clearly wasn't the right decision. But yeah, it was fun saving tires. I wish we had more than one long run there. We got to those green flag pit stops and immediately had that caution. So maybe it would have been different if I would have gotten that long green flag run. But yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, we were talking with Levi Cox there, and it seemed like you guys were sort of almost pacing yourself off of each other. You guys clearly had the two fastest cars on the long run tonight, and you guys had a heck of a battle right there down to the end right there. Were you looking at him possibly as your competition maybe if it did go to green to the end?
Oh yeah, like he was on it from start to finish. I think he was gaining pretty heavily on me before that green flag pit stop. But yeah, that last run, the length of it was a little awkward. I was hoping that we would be able to get to Thomas a little sooner, and yeah, it just didn't work out for us there. I was really slow. I completely destroyed my right sides racing those guys.
Well, you definitely put on a good show for us tonight, all the fans watching at home. Before we let you go celebrate the second place finish, any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the folks at Thursday Night Thunder for putting the league on, all the folks in the field for putting on a great race. Hopefully we'll get some more green flag laps next week. But yeah, I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it wherever we are next. Hopefully the track will be warmer. That'll be nice.
Yeah, it would. Hopefully we see that next week. That's Aaron Smith, our second place finisher. Great run tonight, bud.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Aaron Smith. And finally, we're going to hear from our winner for the first time this season, Thomas Aaron. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Oh, man, it's going. Probably not as well as you're doing right now. First race this season, if I'm not mistaken. You didn't race at Daytona, but you really just picked up into a high gear here at Las Vegas. Congrats on the win.
Appreciate it, man. How about that? That was a pretty good race from my standpoint. I'm a little biased of one, but we have some pretty good long green flag runs. It was fun making green flag pit stops and slingshotting on the outside to try to take the lead. Man, there's nothing better than that. That and the Gen 4 body, man. There's really nothing better than that.
You had to work your way through the field multiple times. It seemed like you mentioned, you were up and down, a bit of a roller coaster of a race. How difficult was it to pass out there? Because you made it look fairly easy.
Well, it wasn't really the passing that was difficult. It was more the tire saving strategy aspect of everything. It was like, how hard do you go and when? And because you don't know how long we're going to go green or, so you had to be very, very disciplined because you could just charge this car so deep into the corner under green flag or on new tires. And but if you did that for too many laps in a row, you were dog meat. You got ate up at the end of the run. So it was a balance of going hard versus not going. That's probably why you saw the 70 back up so much throughout the race, because he had a way faster car. So my strategy at the end there was to take 4 tires, and just I knew he was going to try to save tires, and my strategy was just to go like hell, and I ate up that right front tire there at the end. He was catching me, but he ran out of laps.
Yeah, man, it was. They were coming to the end, but you had enough to get through there. Look, we need to come to an agreement right now. You and Aaron Smith cannot be racing side by side throughout this season because my brain cannot handle 2 yellow cars with Aaron in the name racing next to each other. I'll never be right again, man. In all seriousness, though, great race tonight. It was great to see you out there and kind of we're still learning how you guys race and who you are as race car drivers, and it was exciting to watch. Before we let you go celebrate that win, you got any shout outs?
I got to shout out my parents, man. They helped me move across the country, chase my dream. I'm an engineer on a NASCAR Truck Series team, so without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I give everything to my parents. Mom and Dad, love you.
Hey, man, that is awesome. All about the family here in Thursday Night Thunder. That my brain froze, man. That's Thomas Aaron, your winner tonight in that number 1 car at Las Vegas. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You as well.
You too.
All right, so you heard from Thomas Aaron, your winner tonight in Las Vegas, Chris, and this race had it all. It had tire management. It had green flag pit stops. We had a few cautions this evening. We had intense racing the last 40 laps of this race or so. It did not disappoint. With a new driver, Thomas Aaron ended up in victory lane. 2 races, 2 winners. As we approach really the final 10 races of the regular season, top 10 will make it into a playoffs for the final 3 races. You have to look at Thomas Aaron, Aaron Smith, Justin Clapper, Levi Cox is some of the real favorites in this championship hunt, and I think they showed us why tonight. But let's walk through the order tonight of finishers, because it was a good race, and there are several drivers. Every driver should honestly be mentioned for 175 laps around Las Vegas in cars that wore tires pretty quickly. But we heard from the top 3, Aaron Smith and Cox. Brandon Roberts, Chris, we mentioned him bringing it home in 4th position.
Yeah.
Whale of a job after getting back on the lead lap in the final 60 laps of the race. Justin Clapper ran into a little bit of trouble late, but rounds out the top 5. Jacob Chase, top 5 most of the night, going to finish 6th. Anthony Burleson, he started 10th, worked his way up to 7th, but he really did. I think that might have been the car that did the most yeoman's work in the second half of the race, just slowly trudging forward through the running order. So shout out to that number 79. Chris Blassie, real fast hot rod all night, had a couple of moments up top, but finishes 8th. Joshua Kerner, really, that is not the tail of the evening. 9th does not represent how fast that car was for much of the race. Caught up in a couple late race incidents, is going to have to settle for 9th. Chase Leahy also had some speed, finishes 10th. Glenn Grimm in that 08, great race for him, really fighting back over the course of the evening, finishes 11th. Gregory Shepsis involved in our first caution of the night, finishes 27th. Tyler Truex, really one of the top 5 cars on speed all night, got involved in a crash not of his own making with about 70 laps to go, finishes in the 13th position. David Reichman caught up early as an innocent bystander as well in a caution, finishes 14th. Robert Walton finishes 15th. Dan Berg finishes 16th. Greg Veal finishes 17th. And then Michael Benton caught up in an early caution not of his own making, finishes in the 18th position in that number 29 machine. Chris, it was an excellent race. What stood out to you most about this? Maybe even a surprise that you were not expecting?
Well, just the varying different, strategies, deciding, when to go, when to push, when to save. I love this style of racing. It's the type of racing that, I look at and I think, man, I would love to be out there because I would love to be doing what those guys are doing right now. It was great all night. Loved watching Levi Cox and Aaron Smith try to play the long game. But in the end, a little bit of a surprise winner. I'm not surprised at all by the speed that we saw, especially, what we saw at the beginning of the race from him, but surprised it worked out for him, and Thomas Aaron getting the win. We're coming up here these next few weeks, Ellis. Next week is Homestead for these guys. The week after that, Richmond, and the week after that, Sonoma. 3 very different tracks. Looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle those 3 different tracks. We're going to learn a lot about these drivers with a very diverse next 3 weeks on the schedule.
Yeah, I don't think you could pick three tracks that were more different. So you're right. We've seen 2 winners in the first 2 races. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 3 more new winners over the next 3 weeks or so, Chris. It is going to be absolutely thrilling to watch the rest of this 15-race season. 2 down, 13 to go. We're going to be, as you mentioned, headed to Homestead next week. It's another high-speed track, a bit different style of racing, Chris, one of your favorite tracks to race on, so I know you're looking forward to watching it from up here in the booth. But all the fans at home, we are greatly appreciative of you tuning in. Make sure you do not forget to register for that Dale Jr. Diecast giveaway. Our winner tonight in the chat, we'll go ahead and give it away to someone who was in the race tonight, but also very participatory in the chat. We're going to go ahead and send that 1/64 scale diecast to Joshua Kerner in the chat. Lucky winner tonight. We'll do that every single race this season. So if you didn't win tonight, make sure you say hi in the chat in the future to have a shot at it. A couple folks getting in the chat here late in the race. John Rapp rooting on Aaron and Aaron. He says, man, that is going to get so confusing. Connor, again, enjoying the Steve Park throwback. Lone Star Fugitive Hunters, fun race. That was the 00 of Brandon Roberts who brought it home in the 4th position. So appreciate him tuning in as well, Chris. Off to Homestead next week. We are looking forward to seeing everyone back. 8 o'clock Eastern Time is going to be the green flag. Pre-race coverage starts at 7:45 Eastern Time from Homestead for the Thursday Night Thunder Series from Slingshot Racing Media. It's been a pleasure, everyone. For Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith, so long. Next week, we'll see you on the other side of the country in Miami. Have a great night, everybody.